The 93X Half-Ass Morning Show podcast is sponsored by Standard Heating and Air Conditioning.
We all know January is one of the coldest months of the year, and not that cheery, fun kind of Christmas cold. Nah, just the dark, dank January cold. Standard Heating and Air Conditioning is well aware of this, and that's why they're offering $40 off a furnace tune-up to keep you warm during the Minnesota cold. The last thing you want is to be huddled around an iffy space heater you bought from some shady targeted ad. Oh, and how about this? Standard Heating and Air Conditioning has now been helping Minnesotans for over 95 years. So book your appointment now at standardheating.com. That's standardheating.com.
The 93X Half-Ass Morning Show. 93
All right. Where to begin? Welcome, folks. Wonderful people. Welcome to the 93X Half-Ass Morning Show. Today is, well, it's our Tuesday, and we're hoping to have a good one, by God. Josh?
Yes, sir.
Light of my life. Josh and I just realized something. Came to a realization a few minutes ago that our so-called friend, Dr. P. Jesus, we realize he's the kind of guy that disguises his trash as a gift. Let me explain this to you now. And I've known people like this. It's frustrating. I didn't see this coming from Dr. P. Dr. P was on air with us yesterday, in case you missed it. He swung by the studio and jaw-jacked with us for a while. We had a great time. Dr. P's a big pickleball dork. Right?
Probably the biggest fan I've ever met.
He loves that nonsense.
I mean, he plays a few times a week. Tournaments, he takes lessons, everything.
Yeah, it's obnoxious. So he's a big pickleball fan. So I look across the studio this morning, to where Dr. P was sitting yesterday, and I noticed 2-3 pickleball paddles setting over there. Are they paddles? Are they rackets? Which one?
I always thought it was called paddles,
Let's go
but
with
I'm
paddles.
not an expert.
I noticed where Dr. P was sitting yesterday, there's 2 or 3 pickleball paddles setting over there, and I asked Josh, did Dr. P forget his pickleball paddles here? And Josh says, well, no, he left them here. And I said, so he doesn't want them anymore, and he thinks we could use them? And Josh says, well, I think he just wants to get rid of them.
Yeah, he told me yesterday, he knows I've played a little bit. It's been a while, but I played, and he said, hey, I brought these in for you, which I thought was very kind. And then your theory, it led me to some other people in my life that does the same thing. I thought maybe you're onto something.
Yeah.
Because there's one in particular, and this is the worst, because they'll go, hey, I saw this and I thought of you and thought you'd love this. I thought you'd really like it. And I go, well, wait a minute. I've seen that in your house before. I've seen that very same thing.
For a lot of years,
So
too.
someone gifted you an item.
Oh, this is several times over.
Several times they've done this. They make believe like they went out and purchased this for you, and it's something that you have seen in their home, and they took something from their home and disguised it as a gift for you.
Right, like it'll be a picture where you can clearly see the outline of where the picture was on the wall. There's this one clean part of the wall. Now, don't get me wrong, that's very generous, but it's not, like you were saying off air. It's more just, I got to get rid of some stuff. Right. I feel bad throwing it away. I'm too lazy to go to Goodwill. Right. So I'm just going to drop it off it's his problem now.
That's it. It's bizarre. And the Dr. P pickleball paddle thing, I'm going to guess he put those in his car. He meant to drive them over to Play It Again Sports or something like that, but it's too much of a drive. And so he figured, I'll just dump them off at the radio station. So it's off his hands, no longer his problem. He disguises his trash as a gift.
Well, now I got a whole bunch of pickleball paddles. So if you guys want to have a pick-up pickleball game, I'm good to go.
No, we're going to go to his doctor's office, and we're going to leave him in the friggin' lobby.
Yeah, I got a few other things I wouldn't mind dropping off, too.
Yeah, just go drop our stuff off there.
That's obnoxious. And we're going to have a talk with him when the time is right.
I let him in yesterday when he texted. He goes, hey, I'm outside. So I go to let him in. He was holding on to the pickleball stuff. And I go, oh, you're bringing your equipment? He goes, oh, I'm giving this to Josh. I go, oh, okay, cool. And he goes, hey, anytime you want to play, man, you just let me know. And I go, oh, if that day ever comes, you'll be the first person I'll call, but let's not count on it.
It's been a couple of years. I think I'm good so far.
He does play all the time. I didn't realize they played it in school. We never played it in school.
We never did either.
No.
You guys didn't either?
I never heard of it until a few years ago.
Me too. I thought it was a brand new thing, and
Right.
people are saying, no, this has been around forever. Like, my older kids played it in school. I can't remember if they said high school or middle school, but there was a unit on it.
There was a different sport similar to it. Text me, 651-989-9393. Very similar, different name that I've been aware of since I was a kid. I know someone can help me out.
The closest we ever played was badminton.
Yeah.
And I remember,
I love
the
that.
gym teacher would call it the shuttlecock, and we all laughed and laughed and laughed. I still do.
Badminton was a lot of fun, and sure, shuttlecock is always going to be fun.
I love badminton.
Rich folks that maybe stop by a country club once or
Was
twice.
it like squash?
I don't think that's it.
Is it? I know these are obvious answers, but something like racquetball or handball or something like that?
No, I mean, yeah, I've heard of it. That's not it.
Papple ball?
No. Well, I'll get back to you on this. But the worst example that I've ever
Oh,
personally...
he meant paddle ball. I thought papple ball, he just corrected himself. I thought that was something I'd just never heard of.
Paddleball might be it. It doesn't matter. Sorry, I blew up. The worst example from my personal... The worst example that I can tell you about of someone disguising their trash as a gift happened at my house 20 years ago. Good friend of mine. And that's usually where these cheap shots come from. Your closest friends. You think you know them. You think they wouldn't do this to you, but they friggin' do. And it's born from laziness. Like Josh said about the Dr. P's pickleball paddles. What example did you use? He too far of a drive to Goodwill.
Yeah,
right.
Or
right.
there's always a line, right?
Right.
I'm not going to wait in that.
This hurt my feelings. So a good pal of mine comes over to my house all the time. New node, however the word is. He knew very well that I had a wood-burning stove in my garage. So he calls me one day and says, hey, man, do you need some firewood? And I said, well, actually, yeah, I'm running kind of low. He said, no problem. I got a bunch at my house. I'll bring it over. I jumped into the shower. I come out the shower. Dude's already in my backyard with all these logs all over the backyard. And he's got the axe out, got his shirt off. It's a summer day. And whoop-pa, he's cracking up this firewood. It was like a beer commercial or something. It was beautiful the way he whoop-pa, and the wood is splitting beautifully. And I was like, wow, that's a lot of. He says, hey man, yeah, come on outside. Here's what I was talking about. This is all yours, man. All your firewood. And I said, I appreciate it. I didn't know it was going to be this much. Yeah, man, no problem. I got too much at the house. He cracks down with the axe one more time. The wood splits beautifully. And he says, but I got to get going, so it's all yours. I said, no, that wasn't a problem with me, Wapple. I got no problem with that. I said, yeah, man, you did me a favor. You got somewhere to be. Go ahead. And so I got my shirt off and figured, cool, I'll chop some wood. I'll stack it up. I put the next log in place, and I bring that axe as hard as I can, and it just...
Oh, no.
This was the wettest... garbage, old, soaked, moldy logs. You see, it was all a setup. It was perfectly played out by my buddy. The stuff that he split while I was looking, dry as a bone.
Yep.
To sell me on the whole idea. And I hook, line, and sinker, I bought it. Everything else in that pile was piss-soaked garbage.
It's just been in the back of the woods for years.
Yes, decades.
Yep.
And so here I am now, stuck with, I don't know how many pieces, how many logs he had set out there. And I called him out on it, too. I said, what a friggin' scam.
Come get it.
Friggin' prick.
Hey, a little housewarming to new beginnings.
Actually, I gave this to you for your wedding.
This model?
No, this exact one.
I'm sorry. I'm embarrassed. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I hope you like it.
I love it. Thank you.
By the way, I believe that the pickleball-like sport that I've been well aware of since I was a kid, I think it was called cricket. But maybe I'm wrong, and it doesn't matter. And again, this is twice now I feel bad that I even brought it up. God, but that doesn't sound right either.
Yeah, I thought cricket was more like a baseball thing.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's not it. It's not cricket.
Yeah, the pitcher tries to knock down those little wooden things.
Wickets.
Yeah.
I swear to God, there's still something there, but I'll leave you alone again. All right,
Somebody
so here
joked and said, "Are you thinking of tennis?" I imagine it's not tennis.
No, it's none of the obvious ones. None of the obvious ones.
Remember when? I already said it. Not handball, but the other one that I said something.
Badminton.
No,
racquetball.
Racquetball.
Remember that was really big. Not as much as pickleball, but maybe this is 20 years ago. I remember like everybody I knew was like, "Oh, we got to go play racquetball," and the racquetball courts at gyms were absolutely packed.
Well, my memories of racquetball popularity come from way before that. In the mid-1980s, I was, 13, 14, 15 years old. We played a hell of a lot of racquetball. A buddy of mine got a membership at the YMCA, and we were crazy about racquetball for about 3 months, and I was incredible. Maybe it had another surge in what's the word I'm looking for?
Popularity.
Another surge in popularity later on, but I remember it being a thing in the mid-'80s.
What's the one where you get into like a room with just like four walls?
That's racquetball.
That is racquetball?
Or handball.
That always scared me quite a bit. There was always like these older gentlemen at the community center that would play, and they would go hard in there.
Oh, yeah. They'd have their gloves and their glasses. And
Yeah, the glasses is what freaked me out. I'm like, why do you need eye protection?
Are you thinking of squash?
No.
I've heard of it, don't know much about it.
No.
I've eaten it.
Squash is played up against a wall like racquetball. It was very much like pickleball. Can't come up with it. All right, everybody. Let's get grossed out here before we move on. What's her name again? Gwyneth Paltrow. Gwyneth Paltrow has once again released her annual Goop Valentine's Day gift guide. Anyone here ever purchased any items from the Goop catalog?
It's a little out of my tax bracket.
Oh, it's very, very expensive
Usually,
stuff?
yeah.
I mean, I see some expensive items here, but also I see some cheap ones. I remember this bit. She's been doing this for a stretch of time now, and the most infamous product, if my memory serves me correct, from the Goop Valentine's Day guide brought to you by world-famous actress Gwyneth Paltrow would be the vagina-scented candles.
Yeah. This smells like my vagina, I think she called it.
I remember that being everywhere's, years ago. This time around, let's check and see what we have available, because Valentine's Day is a thing for some couples, and maybe you want to wow your significant other. Well, we start with a sauna. Douchebags call it a sauna, but you know what I'm talking about. An $8,000 sauna. They call it a full-spectrum infrared sauna for a lavish wellness experience.
During the pandemic, those were pretty popular. A buddy of mine, he's an electrical contractor, and his guys would install saunas and hot tubs like crazy during the pandemic.
All they ever did was make me want to puke.
I've only been in one once, and I hated it.
That's all they ever did for me was make me want to puke. But we would...
Yeah, that infrared stuff is supposed to be like really, really good for you. It helps with like wrinkles, scarring.
That's been really popular lately.
Yeah, I got a buddy who put one in.
Never heard of it.
I've done it
He
a
likes
couple
it.
times, the infrared sauna. I haven't really noticed much of a improvement, but
Oh, we have. You look great.
thank you.
A buddy of mine growing up had a sauna. And, of course, when you're a young kid, the challenge is, who can sit in there the longest when it reaches just ungodly temperatures.
Of course.
So we did that when we were 11. And then fast forward a handful of years, I would force myself to enter a sauna if we could get some gals in there. But all it ever did was make me want to vomit.
I like them. They're good for hangovers, too.
overhang.
Just sweat everything out.
Oh, I have heard that, yeah.
I don't know. A couch and a blanket sounds a lot more comfortable to me, but everyone's different. How about some caviar?
No, thanks.
From the Goop Valentine's Day Guide.
I tried that once. It tasted like cobwebs to me.
Oh, never.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of it either. Texture is weird.
Never been anywhere near a bucket of caviar.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't really get invited to places that serve caviar.
I was looking. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, Nick, I know you didn't go to these things, but we had, back when we were owned by Disney, some of the Christmas parties. Remember how fancy they were? Like, you had to dress up and stuff like that.
No, I never went to one where you had to dress up.
Yeah, like International Market Square. We had a couple there. And
Really?
Yeah, and so at one of them, how different it was back then. One of them, they had caviar, and I tried it, and I didn't care for it.
No kidding. No, I skipped all of those. Yeah, they made you dress up, huh?
Yeah.
I was looking at this model's Instagram page the other day, and wow, we are in different tax brackets because they do, I guess it's really popular. It's called like a caviar bump.
Yep.
So you'll take like a shot of vodka.
Bubba's giving you a yip on that one. He's heard of that.
That's no longer but it's a yip.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now I got to come up with a different button.
One more time, a bump.
A caviar bump. So you take a shot of vodka, and then you know how if you're taking a shot of tequila, you put like the salt on your thumb and lick it. Well, instead of the salt, you chase it with caviar.
Yeah. Wow. And I like how they put it on like their in between their thumb and index finger.
I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Just hit a bump of caviar.
Yeah, just like how they're doing Coke.
Here are some more items from Gwyneth Paltrow's Goop catalog. A $195 wedge-shaped sex pillow.
Oh, I've seen those.
Yeah.
Designed for more comfortable sexual penetration. A regular pillow works just fine. A gold-plated vibrator necklace.
Oh, we've talked about those.
Who would wear such a thing? Nobody. Right?
You want to check my neck out right now, Joe?
No, I don't.
They want $165 in trade for a gold-plated vibrator necklace. It looks like a regular necklace you can wear in public, so it's our dirty little secret, all that.
Yeah.
All that silliness. Some couples like to play that game. Or, you wear it around your neck and you're just praying that someone recognizes it as a vibrator so then you can be the center of attention for a few minutes. $165, like I said. What do you got now? The Quickie. Oh, I'm going to set Cubby off here. I'm going to set him off. These next two items, because I know you hate this stuff, and you should. Now, here's where there are some cheaper items in the Goop Valentine's Day Guide. $30 will get you the Adventure Challenge Quickies gift box. It has 30 scratch-off cards with ideas for quick, horny activities.
Those are always cute little gifts, but
you
never
scratch
use
it
them.
off. Uh-oh, anal.
Yeah, my wife, bless her cold black heart. She bought us, for like maybe a Valentine's Day or birthday, something. She got some of those, right? Spice things up, and it was these things you can do with your partner, and it was phrased in a way it would be sexual, and even for me, it was too tame. It was like, hold each other's hands for 3 minutes and
right.
look into each other's eyes.
Look into each other's eyes.
Where it was stuff that just kind of creeped the other person out.
Right.
Give them a back rub, but don't go near any erogenous zones.
My God. I mean, what, are we going to be here all night?
And even she thought, this sucks.
Yeah.
This is so stupid.
Just carry a couple Uno skip cards in case she plays it. You just play that. Skip.
Yeah, it was bad.
So for $30, this sounds like the dirtier option. Here's the option that reminds me of what you were just saying. And I had that experience once many years ago as well, where a gal brought home this little game that we were going to play together. Oh, roll the dice. Okay, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Kiss me on the neck. And I thought, look, I got places to be here. It was so G-rated. Here's that version. Also for $30, you can get a conversation game for couples that includes 100 cards that will deepen you and your partner's overall connection.
Me and my fiance did something like this for, it probably lasted like a month, because there's this stupid app that I got that you link up with your partner on it. So you like answer questions to bond or some crap like that. And I accidentally bought the year subscription.
Oh, no.
So I was like, all right, dude, we're using this because I didn't just spend $80 for nothing.
Oh, are you guys bonded a little bit tighter now?
It actually was. It was pretty cool.
All right. There's another candle in the mix. Gwyneth Paltrow. She loves candles.
Yep.
Ah, that scared me. You ever seen that movie she made with Michael Douglas where he kills her boyfriend? What's that guy's name? Viggo Mortensen, and then he tries to kill her. And remember that one?
Oh, yeah.
Long time ago. That was a good one. Anyway, Gwyneth Paltrow, $133. What that gets you in trade is a candle. It doesn't smell like anyone's vagina as far as I know, but it's supposed to make everyone in the room horny. You huff this candle, and you got minutes, maybe seconds to find a partner because you're so horny, okay? So don't light this with family in the room.
Yeah, I was going to say, this could be dangerous if put in the wrong hands or wrong room.
Yep. Make sure you know your audience. 13.
I wouldn't want to light that around my cellmate, you know?
Oh, God. $1,300. Now we're back into the spendy stuff. Ooh. It's a fancy schmancy turntable.
Those are popular.
Like it's 1973. Again, the turntables, the record players are popular. I am so tired of hearing that. Every 5 years, suddenly you have to have a record player. And then people do the right thing and forget all about record players. And then another 5 years go by. Now you got to have a record player. Trust me. My only mode, if that's the right word, my only option until I was 20 years old was a friggin' record player.
That's what my parents had.
It is not the premier way to listen to music. Trust me.
Was it just like 2 years ago where vinyl outsold CDs or something like that?
Oh, please.
It got huge during COVID.
God, it's so dumb. Okay, $1,300, you get a fancy schmancy record player with a classic Barry White album on there. A couple other random items from Gwyneth Paltrow. Oh, Josh, you're the guy for this. A turtleneck.
I've owned one.
Do you want a Goop turtleneck?
No.
Because
I don't want any turtleneck.
Come on, man. You're turning 50. Let's get you something nice.
All you need is $600.
Oh, my gosh. That better be the best turtleneck of your life.
How do you tell which is the best turtleneck of your life?
I don't know. I've never worn. I hate them so much. I don't understand people that like them. I feel so constricted.
Who was the comedian? They're totally right. The comedian that talked about you feel like you're being slowly choked to death.
Oh, yeah.
I wore one once, and it wasn't my idea, and I hated it, and I regretted it, and everyone made fun of me.
I don't know. Speaking of Canadians isn't a word. Speaking of, that would be a funny Canadian. He's a Canadian. Speaking of comedians, George Carlin wore a turtleneck a lot on stage, but it was the 70s. Everyone was wearing turtleneck. When I was a little kid, I loved to wear a turtleneck. Oh, I felt so cozy when I was a tiny little kid.
My mom always tried to get me in one. So there's a couple pictures of me when I was a kid in this little tiny white turtleneck. I look ridiculous.
And then finally, something called orgasm balm. I'm guessing it's just lube. I don't know.
Oh, I was thinking like chapstick.
Yeah, I really don't know. Orgasm balm, $40.
That's expensive.
Coco de Mieux, pure delight orgasm balm, if that helps you at all.
Mitch Hedberg, thank you, social anxiety Jesus. That's who. Oh, okay. I can't say the actual line, but yeah, somewhere around there.
He was the comic who mentioned that a turtleneck slowly strangles you to death?
Yeah, he phrased it much funnier and differently, but I don't think we can say that anymore.
I understand. Later on this morning, Jungle Jane's going to swing by. She's probably short on money ever since this Goop calendar came out, or what do you call it? Not a calendar. This Goop catalog came out. Janelle's probably broke. Tell me she's not walking around with orgasm balm in her purse. What else is
Ask
going
me about
on?
CrossFit. Jesus said orgasm balm. Isn't that just semen?
I don't know.
Okay. More people are texting in on this Mitch Hedberg joke. All right, the one that was sent to me was incorrect and not politically correct. So that's right. This is what he said. Wearing a turtleneck is like being strangled by a really weak guy all day.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, that's what I thought, too, yeah, because Hedberg was very clean as a comedian.
It wasn't dirty. It was just a word you can't really say.
Yeah. Gotcha. I saw that.
Well, when I was a kindergartner,
Yep.
I'd put on a turtleneck, by damn, I would.
What made you stop?
What made me stop?
Yeah.
It
Like
was
being
a
strangled by a
turtleneck.
really weak guy?
Once you get old enough to choose your own clothing, I guess.
I don't know. It seemed like you enjoyed it.
Well, yeah, when I was a little kid, when I was kindergarten, what the hell care? You're not really thinking about your wardrobe much in kindergarten.
Yeah, I think I had overalls.
No, I mean, everything I had was just garbage, clothing that the cheapest stuff my parents could find. I think, to answer your question as plainly as possible, girls is what changed my outlook on turtlenecks. Suddenly, I wanted to at least be somewhat presentable to girls.
That's
so.
funny. I just have a picture. Yesterday, a picture was going around my family of me in kindergarten.
Oh my
Just
gosh,
yesterday.
that's so cute.
You in kindergarten?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Look at
Look
you.
at my hair. It was luxurious.
You know who you look like as a kindergartner?
I love that. You're so cute, Josh.
You know who you
What
look
happened,
like.
right?
And you look somewhat confident in that picture, and we all know that you
Life
don't-
hadn't brought me down at that
Right.
point.
You know who you look like as a kindergartner? I'll tell you right now, by God, I will. Matthew Perry.
Oh, I'll take that.
Do you agree?
Yeah, our lives went in different directions, but yeah,
I
I'll
suppose
take
they
that.
did. I suppose they did. All right, there you go. A listener texted in. What about Dickies? Anyone ever wear a Dickie? Yeah.
Yep.
I don't remember where I don't think I bought it. I think I ended up, someone left it at my house, and I ended up wearing a Dickie. Yeah. Which was, if folks don't know what that is, that's a turtleneck that doesn't go past your shoulders. Am I correct about that? It was
I don't know. I just know the brand.
Oh.
I was
well,
thinking of the
no, it's
brand.
not the brand. It's different than the brand, right?
I know what you're talking about.
There's
yeah.
like Dickies pants and whatnot, but a Dickie is just like a turtleneck that just covers your shoulders. All it's meant to do is give the appearance that you're wearing a turtleneck. Maybe I'm the only one here who's worn one.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm going to look up what is a Dickie, and you guys guess what I'm going to find.
Yeah.
Oh, nothing dirty.
I bet not.
Yeah,
Barbecue
it's just,
joint?
It's just. Oh, I love that place.
I do, too.
Yeah, you're right. They call it a detachable shirt front or collar insert, which creates the appearance of a full shirt.
Yeah. Didn't Cousin
it's
Eddie
kind of
wear
like-
one of those in Christmas Vacation?
I'm sorry?
Didn't Cousin Eddie wear one of those in Christmas Vacation?
I have no idea.
It's kind of like the white part that a nun wears.
The white part that a nun... See, now you lost.
Yeah.
I thought I knew what a Dickie was, and now maybe I don't. At any rate, fun times back in the day. Just the neck. It just covered your neck. We got to get going. Like I mentioned, Janel Klein will be swinging by a little bit later. We'll get to the stupid news here shortly on the Half-Assed Morning Show.
There's a douchiness to them. The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Dana here for Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. We all know January is one of the coldest months of the year, and not that cheery, fun kind of Christmas cold. Nah, just the dark, dank January cold. Standard Heating and Air Conditioning is well aware of this, and that's why they're offering $40 off a furnace tune-up to keep you warm during the Minnesota cold. The last thing you want is to be huddled around an iffy space heater you bought from some shady targeted ad. Oh, and how about this? Standard Heating and Air Conditioning has now been helping Minnesotans for over 95 years. So book your appointment now at standardheating.com. That's standardheating.com.
This episode brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever find yourself playing the budgeting game? Shifting a little money here, a little there, and hoping it all works out? Well, with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive, you can get a better budgeter and potentially lower your insurance bill too. You tell Progressive what you want to pay for car insurance, and they'll help find you options within your budget. Try it today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
Everyone knows that it's playoff time for football, but did you know football is a conspiracy to sell food? Mean Joe Green likes a certain brand of soda.
With a smile.
Troy Polamalu uses a certain kind of shampoo. That Justin Tucker is a trained opera singer. We can't guarantee that you'll learn all this by listening to the Jim Rowe Show podcast, but you will definitely be well informed on the latest takes on the playoffs, coach hirings, and the draft. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Stupid news on the Half-Assed Morning Show.
All right, here's what's got everyone's drawers in a knot in a place called Port Arthur, Texas. The local cops and, by God, Child Protective Services are investigating a 25-year-old feller down there. They're investigating this guy because of a video that showed up on TikTok. In the video, the dude is apparently using a real live baby to brush the snow off of his car.
Copycat.
Sometimes you got to improvise.
Copycat? What do you mean?
Who's copycatting somebody?
There was this cute, wholesome video of a man doing this with his child, but the child's like bundled up. They're maybe like 4 years old, and they're all, they're in their complete snowsuit.
Right.
And it's cute. It's adorable because obviously the kid's giggling, having fun.
Well, the story does mention that this is how they put it, and I'm disgusted that I have to say this. The story says this might actually be a low-key TikTok trend.
Low-key?
Low-key, dude.
I'm trying to get my youngest to stop saying low-key. Everything is low-key. It's driving me nuts.
It's obnoxious as hell. Apparently, there are several other videos of people using their kids to clear snow off their car on TikTok. Now, in this case, this is a 3-month-old baby. Okay?
Yeah, this thing's little.
And this is why everyone's lost their mind. And again, the town is called Port Arthur in Texas. Dude using a real live 3-month-old baby to brush the snow off his motor vehicle. A snowstorm hit town. And I'm going to imagine the folks in Texas don't have a scraper or a brushy brush on hand. So he used somebody baby. The video's blurred out because this effing guy hasn't been charged with a crime yet, so they can't identify him. But it looks like the baby is wrapped in a blanket or something similar. He doesn't appear to use the baby to chip away at ice or anything like that, but he's not exactly gentle about it, considering he's using a baby body to brush snow off of his car. I thought he was a little rough about it.
That's what I thought. I mean, at first I thought, geez, everybody's kind of going crazy because the kid was bundled up, but he was very aggressive. Low-key too aggressive.
So the local police believe that this is a case of, child endangerment. Word is an arrest warrant will be issued soon enough.
The kid did not look happy.
Nope.
That's for sure.
Little baby?
Yeah.
The video's on 93x.com.
Yeah, kids these days need to toughen up. It'll put hair in your chest. Come on now.
I don't know, man. That was pretty aggressive.
No,
yeah.
I'm kidding.
At 3 months, you're still supposed to, their babies should be able to, pick their head up and all that, but you're still supposed to support their head until around 4 or 5 months.
Well, the windshield and the snow was supporting the baby's head.
And it just snaps to one side, snaps to the other. Poor baby.
Yeah, we have a Texas fella or lady fella here that says they grew up in Port Arthur. And they're never in the news for anything good. I'll have to pay attention to that.
That's a good feeling to have at your hometown.
So when the cops heard about the video cutting loose on TikTok, they wanted to check it out. They went over to the house and checked on the baby. The baby was fine. Not sure who the baby belongs to exactly. The story doesn't ever call the dude. the dad, the dude who used a baby to clear off his Hyundai. The story doesn't call him the dad, so I don't know who this child belongs to. But like I said, this innovative 25-year-old kid is expected to be charged with child endangerment. That doesn't sound like something you want on your record, Josh.
No, that's pretty bad.
I guess it's true. Folks in the South really don't have any idea how to deal with snow.
It's about time there's the people on social media and stuff that, get in trouble for the way that they use their kids for clicks.
I've heard the stories.
Yeah, you see that more and more. It's kind of sad, actually.
Oh, man. To be charged with child protective, how do you call it? I'll get there. To be charged with child endangerment over something like this. I mean, you're lumped right in with folks, with some really evil folks.
Yeah.
You're not going to shake that. No one's going to believe your story. Hey, you apply for a job. How come you were charged with child endangerment? I was clearing my car off with my baby. No, you weren't. What did you really do? You know what I mean? No one's going to buy that. Jesus, listen to this nonsense. In one of our more disgusting southern states here, a couple of jagoffs got themselves arrested. And this is embarrassing as all hell. Especially if you pride yourself on being a low-life criminal derelict, I imagine that you lose all credibility in the criminal world after committing a crime so lame. Just lame. These two clowns trespassed onto a fish farm right then and there. They trespassed onto a fish farm. It's about all I need to know. And then they attempted to catch and then steal a rare fish that was being raised on this fish farm. That is so dumb.
Yeah, that's pretty stupid.
No way I admit that to other criminals. I believe that real criminals will kick your ass for that. I'd lie and tell everyone I sold crack to grade schoolers before I admit that I trespassed onto a fish farm to first catch and then steal a rare fish.
Yeah, you'd have to, as you're being caught, rob a bank or do something to try and bury the whole fish thing.
Around midnight a couple weeks ago, the cops in this neighborhood, they rolled on by the fish farm, and they noticed a vehicle trespassing on the property. When the cop walked up on the vehicle, he saw multiple fishing rods, lures, a net, and other fishing gear in the vehicle. At that moment, the cop must have said to himself, okay, this is a comedy bit. Who's setting me up here? Who's putting me on? But no, sure as hell, the cop also found a live well type of a setup setting around the vehicle too. Inside the live well, there was some wacky-ass rare fish. Something called an arapema. I'm not sure what the hell you call it. It's some exotic Amazonian fish swimming around the live well. 28-incher cubby, damn near a wall hanger.
That's decent.
Oh, those are ugly fish.
Yeah, they are.
According to the story here, that type of fish is worth $1,000. $1,000.
Aren't koi pretty expensive?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
you
definitely.
Like $10,000 or more. You know? Oh, here's some people are saying they can be in like the $30,000 and $40,000 range.
Whoa.
Is that true?
This is something that I haven't followed.
Anyone want to go to the hibachi grill with me and get a koi fish?
Just steal them, go in with a net.
Yeah.
And then the big moment arrived. The cop came around the bend and saw two numbskulls wearing effing waders and carrying fishing rods. These two fools went by the names of Alex Figueredo and Caleb something or another, it doesn't matter. Figueredo told some weak story about how he's part of a Facebook fishing group or something.
Sick,
Wow.
bro.
So cool.
Haven't you heard of us? We're called Hooked on Me. We're a Facebook fishing. He told the cops, he caught the rare Amazonian fish, but he wasn't going to keep it or eat it or sell it. He just wanted to take a picture of it, quote, because it would look cool.
He's right on that.
You think a picture of that fish, him holding it, would look cool?
I gotta have it for my cover photo.
This dude told the cops he was sorry. And he also said if the owner of the fishing farm considered not pressing charges, he would pay for the fish and provide more information regarding other people who have come out there to fish at the fish farm without permission. So now he's volunteering to be an informant. Yeah, he's going to be, and that's very exciting. That's a very exciting life, I've heard, to be an informant for the fish and wildlife underworld.
Oh, and I'm sure they're chomping at the bit, too.
Yeah.
Those cops, they can't believe the break they just got.
This is the inside man that they need. We need an informant in the farm, fish, and wildlife underworld. This is our guy. His name is Figueroa.
We got another person texting from Texas this morning. They say they have a pair of boots made out of that fish, $600.
You gotta have boots made out of a fish in
Texas.
How did you
fish boots?
If you're gonna play in Texas, you gotta have a fiddle in the band. That's rule number one. Number two, you gotta have a pair of boots made out of a dead fish, or they'll throw you right out onto the street. This guy, this Figueroa, whatever the hell his name was, he volunteered to be an inside informant. He started selling his buddies out right away. He snitched on everybody trying to get his sad ass out of the jam that he was in. They weren't all that interested. When the cops asked these two absolute morons if they knew that they were trespassing, they said yes, but they never saw any actual trespass. We didn't see any signs or anything. Yeah, you did. Just ridiculous. The owner of the fish farm said he will press charges.
Yeah, it's pretty embarrassing.
Oh, God. Go sit in the same jail cell as those puke bags who stuff weights inside 2-week-old dead fish in order to win a damn fishing contest. Go sit hip to hip with those friggin' people. That was one of the most interesting, frustrating, ridiculous videos that I've ever seen in my life a couple years ago. And I know these aren't the only guys. You know, there are plenty of idiots who do this. Remember the big one from a couple years ago, Josh, of the guys who got busted at the weigh-in at the fishing contest?
Yeah, like you said, there's been a couple stories. I think those guys might have done it twice even, or they're going back to previous wins trying to figure out.
Oh, that's the dude you want to be?
That's so crazy.
That is so pathetic, it hurts my head to even think about it. What we're going to do is we're going to cut these fish. I caught this one a week ago. We'll cut it open. We'll put some weights in there, and then we'll present it as if we caught it that day. And then the price is $2,000.
That's the thing. It's never like it's like, oh, here's $100,000. It's like $2,000 and some beer tickets.
What? Yeah. What? A free lunch.
Yeah.
What is wrong with you? Here's another dummy. Dude got sentenced to a year in jail. Oh, what does this say, Josh? Down there in Lincoln, Nebraska. Going to jail for a year, this effing guy. You see, back a few months ago, he's a 34-year-old with the name Joseph Schrader. A few months ago, he was at the local Department of Motor Damn Vehicles looking to get himself an ID. He did, I'm just going to take a guess that maybe he lost his driver's license for some terrible crimes, and now he just needs an ID. He did not get that identification card he was hoping for, and that pissed Joe off.
Yeah, that's very frustrating.
Oh, my God. It pissed Joe off to the point that he went ahead and, quote, threw a bag of fish and carrots all over the damned DMV.
Fish and carrots. He just had that at the ready?
Somebody did. He had one of those, spinning childlike meltdowns, just spinning and screaming with the fish and the carrots in hand. and then it got and then he left the fishy mess all up and down By the way, the brand new DMV. The joint was brand new. I think this was day one for the brand new DMV in, how do you say it again, Lincoln, Nebraska. Cop showed up. Fish on the floor. Fish on the walls. Fish on the ceiling. New guy's in the corner puking his guts out. The DMV building smelled heavily of fish. And take it easy with the text messages. I know what some of you are texting in right now.
I'll just set my phone down.
Just don't do it.
Just send it to me, Josh.
It's too predictable. It's too easy. When the cops caught up with Joey, little Joey, the guy who had the meltdown, he also smelled like fish. And they're calling it a misdemeanor criminal. What do they call it? Misdemeanor criminal mischief. And he gone.
Well, my favorite part is what he said.
What did he say?
He said, as he's throwing the fish, there's something fishy going on here.
Oh, my gosh.
He actually said that?
Yeah.
Nice line.
Respect.
So this was all a planned comedy bit?
I don't know.
Is this an amateur comic?
He must have been mad he couldn't get his license or something.
Hey, well, yeah, he was pissed. He didn't hand it to him.
But that's not the point. The point is he had a bag of fish and he had that line at the ready?
He had the line on the ready, or at the ready, yeah.
So maybe this was some kind of a, what's the word I'm looking for? Like
I think it might have been a little pre-planned.
Like a performance artist, like an amateur performance artist.
I don't know. I think it was more he was suspicious, when he went in there, that he just didn't trust what was going on.
He really said there's something fishy going on here.
Yeah.
I hate him even more for that. Don't give me a cute line. That makes it even worse. All of the horrible stories that we read here, all of the horrible stories that I've heard from friends about the DMV, I have never had anything other than an absolutely pleasant experience there.
Same here, and I've never been there longer than 30 minutes.
Speaking of comics, it's one of the go-to lines in the history of stand-up comedy. That's about as boring as the DMV. Why do they always? I've never had anything other than a 100% pleasant experience there.
Same here.
Well, it depends greatly on which particular one you go to.
Yeah.
I've been to a couple different ones.
Well, I know. So have I. And I've had good experiences at a couple and really bad experiences at a couple.
Oh, that sucks.
Tell me about the bad
Well,
ones.
the waiting in line, right? Or at one place they didn't have a line. It was you sat in chairs because they knew you're going to be there for a really long time. You look at who has the number ahead of you back when you used to take the tickets.
Yep.
Maybe you still do certain places, but
yeah, you do.
At this particular place they did. And, you see, boy, I'm double digits away from that. And then there's so many people that are completely pissed off that it was unpleasant.
Never. I'm a lucky guy. Ashley, I guess, and I are lucky people. I've never had I've had one interesting situation. I guess I can say that I've certainly experienced a couple of front desk characters at the Department of Motor Vehicles who seemed a little less than happy.
Oh, yeah. And, it's probably after getting yelled at for 3 hours by...
Right.
Exactly.
Because people go to the DMV like pre-pissed off.
Seems that way.
Mm-hmm.
I never blamed those front desk people for being crabby. They got a tough gig. Never held anything against them. I totally understand it. But the one time I had an interesting experience was, God knows what I was doing there, but there was a couple in front of me in line. They were from a faraway place. I have no idea where. Husband and wife. And the wife was being tested on street signs. They were showing her street signs. Maybe this is part of an average everyday permit test or whatever, or license test. And she had to identify them. Husband, she's standing up to the counter. Husband is behind her. And again, they're from a faraway land. And the front desk person there at the DMV hits a button and the screen pops up a yield sign. And the husband goes, "That's a yield sign." The lady didn't say a word. She's the one being tested, not him. And the front desk guy says, "Sir, this test is for your wife. So if you can just hold off on any." He goes, "Oh, yeah, okay, fine." Pops up and next is a stop sign. The husband again says, "Stop. That's a stop sign." Again, the guy at the desk says, "Sir, this is not a test for you. This is for your wife." Oh, yeah, I get it. Next, the guy kept doing it.
Why?
He kept answering for her. I never heard the woman say a word. And finally, the front desk guy had to say, "Okay, to the couple, you guys move aside. I've got other people I got to deal with." The guy just refused to keep his mouth shut.
Yeah, you've been lucky. Overwhelmingly, texts are saying their experience at the DMV hasn't been like yours. There's one by me where every once in a while it's dead, but then there's other times it's pretty crazy too.
Yeah, maybe that's why I've been lucky. I usually, if I have to go to the DMV, I usually go after, getting off of work here.
Okay.
And so it's usually not a very busy time. And there's a DMV where they got lollipops out.
What?
Yeah, there's one that I used to go to all the time.
I can tell you
to throw at people.
Yeah.
I can tell you about one that has fish available. I'm sorry to people who've had bad experience. I'm just telling you what I've. Just telling.
No,
you
you're lucky
about my life.
There's nothing worse though when you spend the entire time there, a couple hours, whatever it takes.
Couple of hours.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's a couple people that said they waited a couple hours just to get in the line.
And then
they're sitting like in a waiting room waiting to get in the actual line.
You finally get your chance. You get up there, and they're like, "Wait, you only have 2 proofs of address. You need 3. You're gonna have to come back tomorrow."
Oh, see, actually, me and the fiance were just talking about this yesterday because we have to go to the DMV, and he was like going through the list of everything you need, and I told him, just bring everything.
Yeah.
Bring absolutely every form of identification. Bring like 10 pieces of mail.
5 eyewitnesses.
Then you're good.
Your 3rd grade class picture, whatever. All right. I'm sorry to you people who have had terrible times. I really am. I said it already. I'm obviously, and Ashley, we're obviously lucky people. We were talking about fish, weren't we? Fish. Speaking of food, one of the most fascinating things I've ever seen in my pointless, mostly unsatisfying life was on a hot summer day. Oh, by God, I'd say a good 20 years ago or so. One of my pals, who obviously didn't have the healthiest of diets, he was sweating out actual salt granules. You could pull the salt crystals right off of his T-shirt. You could roll it around between your fingers.
That's crazy. You've told that before, and I've never heard of that. I didn't know that was even possible.
He was sweating terribly, very hot day, and his body was pushing out salt chunks. It was fascinating. I didn't think it was possible.
I'm surprised that hasn't happened to me. I eat so much salt. People give me crap about it all the time.
Well, do you still exercise a little bit?
I mean, I do the treadmill every day, but I'm not setting any records.
You drink a lot of water. That helps.
That's true. You and I do have a water off every morning.
Josh, I'm no doctor, but just the fact that you get on a treadmill once a day, my God, that's very impressive. You must, because this guy, exercise was not his thing. And obviously salty foods was his bride. And on this hot day, his body finally said, "Look, we got to get some of this out of here or you're going to die." Fascinating to see. Now, here's a guy in his 40s, and he just landed in the medical books. His diet turned his hands, feet, and elbow orange.
Pictures of his body are up on 93x.com.
You know, like the lines in his hands?
Yeah.
It kind of looked like a prime rib. Just like the fat in between, like a prime rib.
The only pictures I saw were of the palms of his hands. And like Josh was saying, the lines in his hands, to me, just looked like someone colored those lines in with an orange magic marker. I'm not saying it was fake. That's what it looks like. Again, his diet turned his hands, feet, and elbows orange. Doctors diagnosed him with something called xanthoasma. I'll give you asthma. What movie? Caddyshack. Doctors diagnosed the dude with xanthoasma. Now that comes along when your cholesterol gets so high, fat starts building up under your skin. It causes yellow or orange deposits, usually around the eyes. But it can happen anywhere on your body. In this case, like I said, hands, feet, elbows. Dude told his doctor He'd been following an extreme carnivore diet for the last 8 months.
That's popular right now.
Is that right?
I don't understand.
He was exclusively eating the following. He was exclusively eating hamburger meat, cheese, and full sticks of butter.
Well, what's the problem?
Is all that this man was consuming. He told them in the last 8 months of this extreme carnivore diet that he'd lost a couple pounds and he was feeling pretty damn good. But when they checked his cholesterol, it was over 1,000. And if you're like me and have no idea what that means to a person, they say anything above 200 is bad. And he had hit the 1,000 mark.
Wow.
Millennial Steel Cutter Jesus said that as a 23-year-old, he drank a lot of Sunny D, and then he peed orange, which scared him for a few minutes. I've seen that before, like on some of those medical shows where somebody's skin turns orange from eating too many carrots or something like that.
Oh, yeah. I've heard of that.
But this is not, I don't know, would you eat a stick of butter a day? I mean, if it's in stuff, what are you going to do? But just like consuming that on purpose?
Yeah, I've seen some.
Just taking a bite like it's a carrot.
Some people on social media like swear by this diet. And then once I saw this, I wanted to just send the article to all of them.
And they swear by it because they lose weight?
Yeah, they lose weight and they think like humans, they say, we're not meant to eat all that other stuff. We're meant to eat like steak and high fats and no.
Because we're alphas and we're carnivores and we're animals and all that overhyped.
Exactly.
Life was a lot more difficult back then, too. I mean, keep in mind, you were an old man at 25 years old.
Exactly,
but also, you're working your ass off for everything, and for a lot of us, that's not the case.
You spend all day trying to roll a boulder in front of your cave for the approaching storm.
Yeah, think about this. You want to make a ham and cheese sandwich? You're going to wait a year to grow the wheat. And,
right.
Raise the... What is a ham? Oh, it's pig.
If you're going to go...
I don't even know what animals they come from. I just get them from the subway.
These people are referencing Neanderthal man and things like, when you spend all day going hand to hand with a woolly mammoth, you probably are going to want an entire pig for dinner.
Yeah, you'll burn that off.
You'll burn it off. This is not 420 BC.
Yeah, binge watching The Night Agent on a Friday night.
Right.
It's a lot different.
Can have a little different effect on your body. So as the story wraps here, there's no word on how this guy's doing. But I think he made it through his doctor's exam. Like I was saying, the only pictures I saw of the United States cholesterol champion here were of the palms of his hands, and it just looked like orange magic marker filled in the lines of his hands. I watched a man, and this goes way back, before I was even working with Cubby on the radio. We had one of those days where it was, let's challenge people to do disgusting things. Well, this guy was, a coworker. He was on air with me at the time. I think he was talking a bunch of trash about how I can handle any food. I don't get sick from anything. That was I think the spark that started this nonsense. So he said, go ahead, bring me in a pound of bacon and 5 sticks of butter. I can eat it. I can eat it as fast as you want me to, and I'll be fine. He did. And I have never seen a man turn so green so quickly. He was absolutely miserable.
His poor arteries.
Absolutely miserable.
The butter. Do you guys happen to remember those commercials? They'd come on late at night, and it was some chick like sitting on her couch, and she would open up a stick of butter and start taking huge bites out of it.
Yeah, that was pretty funny, that commercial, but it was gross.
That always made my stomach flip. Oh.
She said that it was real butter. Sometimes like they'll put something else in there.
Yeah.
But she said, no, that was a real stick of butter. Rambling Jesus and a few others are saying that carnivore diet, that person's doing it completely wrong.
They're doing it wrong.
Yeah, they're not. He said it's like lots of eggs, steak, chicken, fish, but no hamburger. He said that's terrible meat, which actually made me shiver a little bit because I think 3 days a week all I eat is hamburger. Maybe I got to change
That's
it.
terrible meat?
It depends where you get it from, too. It's good for you.
Oh, it's all good.
I got a guy, he's the van down by the river.
You got to do it.
Use my hamburger.
Don't ever tell me that hamburger meat is terrible meat. Whatever. It's fine, for Christ's sake.
I like veggies and fruit. They're a crucial part of my diet.
Low key, it's terribly good. Low key.
Yes.
Now, I knew a gal many years ago who would only eat 2 things every day, no exceptions. Hamburgers from McDonald's, not a cheeseburger, just a hamburger, and soft shell Taco Bell tacos. Those were the only 2 foods she would eat every day, no exceptions. She was bizarre in a lot of different ways, but that was her thing.
What was her health like and body type?
Yeah.
Not picking on those establishments, just if that's all she eats.
Of course. Average body type. And what was the other question?
Like, what was her health like? Was she healthy enough?
Heavy drinker.
Also, that's going to happen.
So, yeah.
But yum. I get it. Those are both very good.
One of the thinnest guys I know. No, he does work out quite a bit, but he has the dietary needs of a 7-year-old boy. I mean, he eats terrible.
That's what I get accused of every day. What about this guy now?
He's in great shape, and he works out all the time.
I get my balls busted all the time for what I eat.
Chicken nuggets and mac and cheese? Heck yeah.
Bologna sandwich, potato chips, like you said, chicken nuggets, mac and cheese.
That's good stuff right there.
Yeah, and a lot of cookies and stuff. I get the same heat.
That's a balanced diet. You're getting some protein, some dairy.
I get the same heat.
Grower and then a shower, Jesus said that he went to an elementary school that had a kid there that would eat those pads of butter right off the paper.
Whatever that kid's up to now.
Those like little, I hate those things, but those little tiny salt and pepper packets you can get at restaurants, you got to tear them down the middle. And, I get those, and I get so many of them when they're there that my kids make me hide them because they're embarrassed at how many I have.
Dad!
I get like a mountain of those things.
It takes 30 of them to...
Oh, it takes forever.
Yeah. Yeah, that dude who ate the pound of bacon and all those sticks of butter, I was worried he was going to die. He just looked like he was having a cardiac episode for the rest of our program. And his breathing was so heavy for the rest of the... He continued to try to engage on air with us for the rest of the morning after he pulled this gimmick. And he got the live mic in his face, and we're trying to have a conversation, and he's going...
Now, your brother's a power lifter, and he knows a lot of power lifters, obviously. Have you met a guy like this? I knew a gentleman who actually, he won some bench pressing competitions, but he pretty much just worked his chest. And his chest was so big that he had trouble breathing because of all the weight.
I certainly saw a few of those guys over the years at these competitions my brother would sign up for. Yeah, I mean, it's...
So, what you're describing is exactly the same type of... You'd kind of worry about the guy. First, that he was just going to fall on his face because it's all right on his chest.
And they're all beat red.
Yes.
From the neck up, just an absolute herpy. Yeah, their face looks like a herpy.
That's exactly right.
By the way, the gal who ate strictly McDonald's hamburgers and soft shell tacos from Taco Bell, she was a gal who tried to win a game of beer pong by putting her vagina on the table.
Oh, I think you remember you telling that story.
I told you that story?
Yeah.
I forgot how it ended.
You don't forget.
I don't remember how it ended because everyone was diving into the corner laughing, and it turned into such a... the distraction tactic of beer pong. And let me tell you, she only knew a few people in that room.
Oh, that makes it... You know what? Good for her.
Only a few people did she personally know. And this was early in the evening. It wasn't like 3 a.m. We're all wildly intoxicated. It was pants unzip, pants down, vagina on the beer pong table. That's how I'm going to distract you.
It's great that
you can't weaponize a vagina like that.
I mean,
she
people
skipped the boobs.
Yeah, people were just, oh my God!
I love that so many people have that story because they didn't know her ahead of time. We're like, hey, remember that time we were at that party and playing beer pong?
Yes.
And she just whipped it, because they probably never saw her again after that. And they'll always have that memory in that moment.
I've seen the boob thing. You're right, Ashley. That's way more conventional now.
She wanted to wean.
I thought that was wild.
Good for her.
Now, if I ever see that again, which I'm never in a situation where I would, but if I do, I'm going to have to just think, lame.
Right.
Nick knows a vagina lady.
I'll be damned.
Sports. On the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
What do you want Iowa State to do?
Yeah, Iowa State just cannot give up the three-point line.
Three-point game.
Too far.
Here's Love for the tie.
Buzzer beater, Cubby.
Yeah, it was a good one.
In the Arizona-Iowa State college basketball game last night. What was there, 2 seconds left? Arizona was down 3. Iowa State kid hits a free throw. They inbounds the basketball. Short of half court, the kid heaves it up. And they went to overtime. Arizona got the win.
That is up on 93x.com.
College basketball. They dump a buzzer beater on you once in a while. And we all have a lot of laughs with that. The Wolves last night. Last night's game made me think of a quote from my pal Rick. The Rick that intimidates you, Josh.
He is intimidating.
Years ago, he said, I'm not even that big of a basketball fan, let alone really bad basketball. That's what last night's Wolves game reminded me of. They won, but that was one poorly played basketball game. Oh, my God.
You know, for a game that's won, all the articles were talking, that was one, all the articles talked about how bad the Timberwolves were last night.
Both clubs were just terrible. There was one player who showed up, DeAndre Hunter from the Atlanta Hawks. He had like 35 points. Everyone else was terrible. But they won. What are you going to do? I don't know. Golden Gopher men's basketball. Hot suddenly. 3 wins in a row. Everyone's talking about everyone who didn't care 3 weeks ago now is piling themselves onto the bandwagon. PJ's wetting his pants. They're playing on the road tonight at the number 8 ranked team in the country, Michigan State. We'll talk about all of these things and more with Randy Shaver. Oh, Janel Klein's going to be here, too, in about a half hour. But don't go nowhere because Josh's wonderful news report is next.
There's a douchiness to them. The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Dana here for Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. We all know January is one of the coldest months of the year, and not that cheery, fun kind of Christmas cold. Nah, just the dark, dank January cold. Standard Heating and Air Conditioning is well aware of this, and that's why they're offering $40 off a furnace tune-up to keep you warm during the Minnesota cold. The last thing you want is to be huddled around an iffy space heater you bought from some shady targeted ad. Oh, and how about this? Standard Heating and Air Conditioning has now been helping Minnesotans for over 95 years. So book your appointment now at standardheating.com. That's standardheating.com.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy. Just drop in some details about yourself and see if you're eligible to save money when you bundle your home and auto policies. The process only takes minutes, and it could mean hundreds more in your pocket. Visit Progressive.com after this episode to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
Welcome to the jungle, clones. It's the Jim Rome Show podcast.
The greatest and loyal fan base ever. You, the clones. It all starts with the jungle. We're in it to win it, and I'm in it to go as hard as I possibly can every day to make sure that you clones get the best possible product every single day. Day one, all in, let's freaking go.
The Jim Rome Show. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Half-Assed Morning Show. 93X.
I saw a bunch of police cars and I heard sirens, and then I see a rescue truck drive by. They're taking somebody away.
A landlord's behind bars after reportedly shooting a tenant during an argument over the thermostat. Those do escalate. You don't touch a guy's thermostat. According to the report, 37-year-old Adam Anson, armed with a semi-automatic pistol, tried to get into the victim's home Saturday by knocking on a window because he wanted to adjust the thermostat in a hallway. When the victim opened the door, Anson forced his way in and just started punching the guy out of nowhere.
God dang.
He then dragged him to the backyard and shot him.
Oh, no.
Oh.
After the shooting, Anson reportedly went back inside, adjusted the temperature, and called 911.
Mission accomplished.
Police have yet to disclose all the details, but confirm the investigation is ongoing with more information to be released soon.
That's a tough day for everybody involved.
Yeah, I mean, what preceded that?
Good question.
The landlord, maybe the landlord's paying the heat or something and just didn't want to pay any. I don't know, but.
Yeah, it probably didn't come out of nowhere. I'm guessing these two have had past issues.
Yeah, obviously this guy on the worst end of that, but.
You get a little uppity about the thermostat at your house, Cubby?
Not as much as I used to. I mean, maybe not uppity, but I didn't like anybody else touching it. And I did for a very brief time, and by brief I mean maybe 2 days. I password protected it.
I've done that move.
So you had reached a breaking point.
A little bit.
Yeah.
And I forget, was it Daddy's Home 2? Anybody see that movie?
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
They had the thermostat argument, and nothing has ever rang more true for me than that. You just don't touch somebody else's thermostat.
What in God's name were you doing watching Daddy's Home Part 2?
Oh, entertaining movie.
It's cute.
Daddy's Home 1 was really good.
Agreed.
No, it was not.
Yeah, it was very funny.
4 teens playing ding-dong ditch had a terrifying encounter with a Missouri homeowner accused of robbing them and holding them at gunpoint after they visited his house. The teens were in a Springfield neighborhood Sunday, January 19th, when they approached 40-year-old Melvin Rankin's home. They rang the doorbell once, and after seeing Rankin look out the window, rang it again. The garage door opened, and they heard a gunshot from inside. The teens fled, driving away, but Rankin chased them in his car. After the teens reached a dead end, he pulled up, pointed a gun at their vehicle, and ordered them out. While holding them at gunpoint, he forced them to lie on the ground and questioned them, repeatedly asking, "Who sent you? And where's the gun?" After they explained they were just playing ding-dong ditch and didn't have a gun, he let them leave, but he took their car keys. Officers arrested Rankin the next day during a traffic stop, with authorities noting he's already on lifetime GPS monitoring for previous crimes.
He's a lifer with the GPS monitor on his ankle.
Yeah, he's got it.
What the hell? Oh, you don't have any details on what those previous crimes were?
I do. They're pretty bad. I just left them out for that reason.
Boy, ding-dong ditch is a little bit of a different gimmick these days.
A lot more dangerous.
Yeah, it's pretty harmless back in the day.
Yeah, people don't have the sense of humor about it than they used to.
I mean, I know it wasn't cool looking back, but one time we ding-dong ditched a family, and the dad came out the house, and he said, "All right, none of you sumbitches are going anywhere." And my brother picked the guy up and hip-tossed him across his own yard, and we ran like hell.
Oh, jeez.
We only did it to friends, never like strangers or anything.
Yeah, same here. We were always too scared.
What?
From doorbells to snowballs, it seems some folks are driving straight into overreacting these days. Police in Connecticut are searching for a suspect who opened fire on 2 kids, hitting a 12-year-old multiple times because they hit his car with a snowball, and it was an accident. Hartford officers responded to a shooting about 7:15 p.m. Wednesday and found an injured 12-year-old who, along with his 11-year-old friend, were having a snowball fight outside when one of the snowballs inadvertently hit a passing car. The driver circled back, chased them, and opened fire.
12-year-old was with another juvenile throwing snowballs. One of those snowballs hit a car. That car looped the block and chased the kids and fired rounds at the children. Thank God, non-life-threatening. It could have been a lot worse.
The 12-year-old, he can take a bullet or 3. They said his life was never in danger.
What a badass.
The 11-year-old wasn't injured. Perhaps to prevent similar incidents, Wausau, Wisconsin took an unconventional step to address such risks in 2019 by banning snowball throwing altogether. I wonder if that's still going on, but I remember that being a big story back then. No snowball fights.
When they banned throwing a snowball. It's illegal in Wausau, Wisconsin, you say?
At least it was in 2019.
I'll be damned.
A pair of Florida sisters were arrested Thursday for battering each other at a family event at a Catholic church, where their 95-year-old father's funeral had just been held.
Oh, boy.
The fight was sparked by the eulogy delivered by 66-year-old Kathleen Deegan at the funeral for Dr. Arthur Deegan. It seemed her speech omitted a shout-out to her niece, Maureen's 24-year-old daughter, that's the sister, a snub that sparked a fiery verbal showdown. Investigators say Maureen walked over to Kathleen and purposely chest-bumped her, bouncing each other's boobs right off each other.
I love it.
Kathleen then grabbed her sister's hair and pulled it. Maureen responded by throwing strikes at Kathleen's face. When the dust and strands of hair settled, the mutual combat led to Kathleen being arrested for misdemeanor battery, but Maureen was charged with felony battery because her older sister is older than 65.
I'll tell you, emotions run high at such events, do they not, Josh?
They do, but just her not mentioning the niece? That family must be a little tough to deal with.
I can't give away any details. I just can't. But I was at a funeral once where there was a statement made during the eulogy that could have started real trouble. I mean, it was like a cheap shot.
Okay, I was just going to ask, so it was on purpose?
Oh.
I don't know.
Not just a misspeak thing?
It wasn't anyone misspeaking. Either it was on purpose, or the person giving the speech did not realize what, the gravity of what they had said. But it was a personal cheap shot directed at someone. And we were shocked. At least my row in the church, we thought, did he really just say that?
Was it funny?
No.
It wasn't even humorous.
Nope.
Not a joke that went bad.
Some folks, how some folks don't understand sarcasm? They just come off like pricks.
Yeah.
It wasn't that. It was just a shot fired. And it really easily had the victim of that shot not been a mature person, we could have witnessed some of what you were just explaining.
Yeah, man, I've never seen something like that. A Northeast Ohio security camera installer is accused of turning his job into a tool for stalking and harassing women, sending graphic messages and videos, which left his victims alarmed.
She didn't know who was sending these. Maybe it was somebody in the offices who she dealt with every day. So now she doesn't trust anybody. It really does impact someone's mentality when they're receiving these harassing communications.
The 57-year-old man was arrested Wednesday after a month-long investigation triggered by a woman who reported receiving explicit and unsettling messages from unknown numbers. These were sexually explicit messages and videos, a police spokesperson said. She didn't know where they were coming from. They came from multiple phone numbers, but she was very concerned, he said. Detectives uncovered that the perv had been hired to install security cameras at the woman's workplace. Then, using burner phones, he allegedly sent messages that made it clear he was watching her.
Said that he could see her, that he would drop off particular clothing for her. He even named her by name in these communications.
As the investigation deepened, detectives found another victim, a bartender, who had also reported disturbing messages. The security cameras at her workplace had been installed by the same perv, who investigators say has a history of stalking and harassing women by phone. Pretty sick, bruh.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's not the move.
Neither is this. A 48-year-old Staten Island teacher was caught lubed-handed masturbating on camera during an online meeting. The incident occurred during the pandemic, but is making headlines now because he just is getting into no trouble. The incident reported included a video showing the teacher, Robert Torres, quote, with his pants down conducting masturbatory activities.
That's what I call it, too.
Torres was co-teaching a class with about 15 students remotely. After dismissing the teens, the teachers were required to remain online for 30 minutes just in case a student returned with questions. That's when another teacher noticed Torres had his pants down and appeared to be masturbating, the report states. Horrified, the teacher instinctively recorded the act on their phone, which was later handed over to police. The video was the NYPD, that is, closed the case, determining no students had witnessed the behavior, so no criminal charges were filed. How's that possible?
So, dude, he did not realize he was still live?
I'm hoping so. I'm hoping he didn't realize that. But, I mean, he knew he was supposed to be on there after the class was over, just in case somebody popped back on with a question.
He had a need, didn't he?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, he couldn't wait. And there was another teacher there, which he was aware of. He refused to cooperate with investigators or even defend himself against the allegation, but a Department of Education spokeswoman called the behavior outrageous and totally unacceptable. He apparently, they are going to throw some sort of discipline at him, the school is, but those remain unclear so far. Possible actions could range from a letter in his personnel file. Oh, no, not a letter. To a suspension or fine.
Well, that is something right there.
Across Montreal's residential neighborhoods, deliveries are disappearing from doorsteps at record paces.
The Canadians are doing the porch pirate gimmick now?
They are. Bold porch pirates dash onto properties snatching online orders in broad daylight, often captured on doorbell cameras, but they don't care. Frustrated victims turn to Facebook, community groups, and other social media platforms to share their experiences and warn neighbors. But police there are urging residents to think twice before posting. They argue that airing grievances online could complicate future legal proceedings, potentially jeopardizing a case if a suspect is ever brought to court.
What we strongly recommend is to give us the evidence and let things take its course.
Even potential perpetrators have a right to privacy until proven guilty, a police spokesperson said, but victims are fed up. They do?
I suppose we were just talking about that a couple of days ago. Rushing to judgment on social media before you know all the facts?
I guess.
Is that pretty much what we're talking about?
Well, they're just saying, hey, if you out these people, it could just jeopardize the case because, right, maybe there's something they don't know. But, I mean, you have package, individual shows up on porch, package gone when they leave.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense to me. And like they a lot of the times, like I see all over, like the neighborhood apps, they'd be like, "Hey, watch out! This dude's out and about," and that's like helpful.
Yeah, and this is exactly what they're trying to crack down on.
Yeah, that's so weird. Why wouldn't?
One resident discovered her ceramic dog statue had been swiped off her porch last month.
Oh, no.
She provided police with video evidence, but said she ain't seen Jack, you know what.
They have his license plate. They have him on camera, taking the dog, putting it in his car. Nope, I still don't have it back.
Frustrated, she turned to social media, a move criminal lawyer Eric Sutton doesn't see a problem with. You're not really impairing their right to a fair trial if they're ever arrested or charged, he explained, noting that sharing evidence in public forums is unlikely to derail justice. For many victims, it's less about seeking revenge and more about reclaiming their stolen belongings. Several admitted that if it happened again, they'd likely post online before turning to police, believing it's their best shot at bringing the porch pirates to justice.
Oh, wow.
I mean, you know, certain video doorbells, there's a whole app ecosystem based around that, where you can post on it. Hey, look at this. This is going on. There's coyotes in the neighborhood, porch pirates, or somebody's casing cars, that kind of thing.
Boy, did that lady sound like China, but that has nothing to do with this.
A 33-year-old Ohio man banned from entering a Walmart anywhere in the country has been arrested on theft charges at a Walmart. Seth Stiers, already prohibited from setting foot in any Walmart, made his move on the 14th, grabbing 2 duffel bags, loaded them with merchandise, and slipped out through the rear exit without paying. Stiers had been formally banned from Walmart just weeks earlier after signing a trespass notice acknowledging he was no longer welcome in any of their stores. That didn't seem to stop him. Stiers has a history of theft-related charges spanning years, including incidents at a Kroger, a Dollar General, and even the same Walmart where his latest alleged heist occurred.
Well, this guy's running out of joints to commit crimes in.
Yeah, it certainly appears that way. In the new Hulu series Paradise, premiering today, a Secret Service agent assigned to protect a former president finds the president murdered, and becomes the prime suspect, unraveling a high-stakes thriller within an exclusive community.
That sounds good.
School busing Kai Jesus sends a happy birthday wish to his son and wife, and then happy birthday to the better Ross Jesus from your hot girlfriend organ grinder Jesus, and that's 93X News.
Randy Shaver. You can see he had his nice big tentacles that are sticking out, and he's got a rigorous training program, and he loves his green leaves, so we feed him plenty of nice green leaves.
On the Half-Assed Morning Show.
Minnesota led by as many as 8 in the quarter, and something just fell from the Jumbotron that it was within feet of Rudy Gobert.
Target Center's falling apart. We'll get back to that. First, we need to welcome our guests. Randy Shaver is still in Florida.
Good morning.
Janel Klein is in studio.
I got to hit your thing.
Good morning.
There you are.
Good morning,
First
Janelle.
day.
Good morning, Randy. Hello,
good morning, good morning, good morning.
Randy, tell us more about what's been going on in Florida. Last week, you told us that exciting story about when you toured the track at Daytona.
Yes.
Has there been anything that's topped that?
Well, my grandkids are coming today, so that will top it. So,
and what are you going to do? Are you going to do the routine where you put them in the shallow end of the pool, you sit there and drink beer all day kind of a thing?
You got that right. No, they're coming. They're going to be here for a week. The weather is fabulous. It's in the mid-70s every day. tomorrow, we're going to beat Depot to the punch. We're going to Peppa Pig tomorrow.
That'll be fun.
I told Depot I would give him a scouting report on Peppa Pig.
You mentioned this last week. You're going to be visiting some kind of a Peppa Pig branded amusement park?
That's correct.
All right.
And it's connected to what I found out. It's connected to a Legoland amusement park. And so the two of them are combined. It's about a 40-minute drive from where we're staying.
Do you have the stamina for this?
I'm going to find out.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, you're going to be winded.
Yeah, we're going there tomorrow. I think Andrew and his family fly in tomorrow, and they were going to go out there on Thursday. So I told him I would send him a few pictures and kind of give him the lowdown. So
just Grandma and Grandpa taking the kids around?
No.
Make sure you bring some earplugs.
It's a whole family event.
Oh, you think it's going to be pretty loud?
I just think he's going to, after about an hour of being there and hearing all the British accents and all that.
I'd say earplugs and a flask.
And I've been on some road trips where I wish I was wearing earplugs in the car.
Exactly.
Yeah.
See, now, I know nothing about this kid-oriented stuff, but one thing I do hear from folks who do spend time with little children is that a little bit of that Peppa Pig gimmick goes a long friggin' way, and it makes you angry. It makes you violent after a while.
You would hate it.
Am I right about that? People say it makes them nuts, and they end up hating this character. Very true.
You might be thinking of Caillou. That's the one that really sets people up.
Okay.
But yeah, Peppa Pig to a certain extent.
So are you prepared, Randy Shaver, to be frustrated to beat hell by the end of the week?
No, not at all. It'll be really my first full day with my grandkids here, so I think I'll be just fine.
You don't care what the character is. You'll just be happy to spend time with the young people.
Exactly. Yeah, very excited.
My damn. Peppa Pig hooked up to a Legoland. And if you go another block down the street, Randy Shaver, Mons Venus. So there's something there for everybody. Oh, is that Tampa?
Yeah, I was just saying, they have more than one.
I thought if you just went a block down the street, you walk right into Mons Venus.
Well, then Papa will stop off at Mons, and I'll join you later at Peppa.
Oh man, you might see Solly in there.
Hey, Solly in the hot tub.
That's for you old Vikings fans.
Walk into Mons Venus. You know who's got a table saved for us? Solly.
All right.
Social anxiety, Jesus, he brings up a point. I've heard this before, too, that kids who watch that show a lot start getting a British accent because Peppa Pig, has the accent.
Right.
I think that's why you'd hate it.
Yeah. Oh, I don't like the English.
You're intolerant.
I am very intolerant of the...
Peppa the Pig's biggest hater. I'd love that.
You're right about that. I remember hearing about that, Josh, that little kids from, Michigan, they're walking around their folks' place with a British accent. Mom and Dad are contemplating, moving out because they can't stand it. You know who developed the English accent that pissed me off? The OG, Madonna.
Oh.
Anyone recall that?
No. She faked one, you mean?
Just 25, 30 years ago, suddenly she had an English accent when being interviewed. Yeah, and I thought, speaking of being from Michigan, I thought, where the hell did this come from? But, that's obviously very different. She's a rich maniac celebrity. Janel Klein now is in studio. We're happy to see Janel again. Now, Janel, because of the results of the two conference title games on Sunday, it's become clear that in a couple weeks you will be working at the worst Super Bowl ever.
Yeah. Are you even going to go to the game or just kind of go to the stuff you have to broadcast from?
Yeah, I probably won't go to the game. I don't know. I'm just not excited about it. I hate to say that. Everybody else is saying the same thing. But
yeah, we agree.
God.
When you lose Janel, the nicest person on earth, you've lost everyone.
Yeah. Well, we had a half-hour conversation yesterday about how none of us are drawn to this matchup, and it sucks. There was an opportunity for it to be a whole lot of fun. Unfortunately, with the Chiefs and Eagles winning, there is no fun.
Yeah.
But you have a job to do.
Yeah.
How many Super Bowls will this be for you now?
God. I don't know, maybe like 10.
You're like Brent Musburger, man.
You got 7 more than Patrick Mahomes.
Looking live.
You've been to 7 more than Patrick. I like the way Josh put that.
Funny.
10 now, huh?
Maybe. I don't know. That's my best guess.
Well, I'm sure whether you go to the game or not, because of who you are and your personality, I'm sure you'll find some fun things to do.
It's always fun. Yeah.
Yeah, it's about way more than the game, thankfully, if you're in the city that's hosting the ball game. It's about way more than the game.
Have you been told, like, the parties you're going to yet?
Yeah, we kind of have an idea. I mean, a lot of them are the same every year where you're just on the list and you just kind of do the circuit.
You bounce around.
Yeah.
Am I on any of those lists?
You are. You're my +1.
Wow.
Nice, Dana.
That turned around quickly. I was expecting the opposite of that.
You just have to buy your own plane ticket and your own hotel room.
Right, there you go.
Oh, don't make me tell that story again. Anyway.
That'll cause some anger.
Oh, God. So you do know some of the target events that any big names can, because isn't that how they do it now, Josh? It's the Shaquille O'Neal party, and then an hour later, the
Timothy Chalamet is hosting something.
Party stuff.
I mean, there are obviously ones where huge celebrities are at that most of the time I don't ever see. So there's, but I'm trying to think. There's one that we go to usually the first night that's a cigar party. That's really fun. I mean, I don't smoke cigars, but you always see this cast of characters, and people like to come out because there's like cigar tables you can go around and pick. That's really fun.
That's cool. What do you smoke?
No comment. No, I'm just kidding. Nothing.
The big, fat, smelly cigars.
Yeah.
Everyone looks like a big shot.
Yeah.
Okay, you
People
like
love
that
one. Yep.
Any celebrities you're hoping to run into?
God, I don't know.
What if Joe Burrow's there?
Oh, he could be.
Yeah.
He could be.
He just rolls up in his Batmobile.
That's right. I wonder if he got it yet.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
Janelle, I think Joe Burrow's down here. I think he's in Orlando.
Really?
For the Pro Bowl.
Oh,
for the Pro Bowl.
Oh, boy.
Well, but he could easily get to New Orleans in a week. Maybe you'll run into, I would imagine you and Joe Burrow probably shop at similar clothing stores. Maybe you'll run into him at I see the way they got dresses on the internet.
It's a little different.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Unconventional.
He's made choices.
How many Super Bowls for you, Randy Shaver, in your career?
Oh, gosh.
You can't top 10.
No, I can't top 10. I would say probably 4.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty good.
I'm guessing 4. I was there in Miami when the 49ers beat the Bengals.
Sure. That was 1989.
Jerry Rice, John Taylor.
Yeah. That was 89.
Washington and Buffalo, obviously, at the Metrodome.
The old Metrodome.
I was in Atlanta for Buffalo and
Dallas.
Who did they? Dallas. Yeah, very good. I was in Houston for the comeback of the year when the Patriots came back against the Falcons.
Oh, that was hilarious.
That was good fun.
I thought the game was over at halftime. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, plenty of people did. There's a old buddy of mine that I still drink with who left the bar that night. He said, it's over. This game is over. And obviously it wasn't, and we bust his balls about it to this very day.
Yeah.
So when you guys were having the conversation yesterday, did you go around and everyone had to pick who they're going to cheer for?
No.
I mean, who do you pick in
a
this
meteor?
scenario?
Well, see, here's the thing. I saw that graphic, Dana. You must have seen the same graphic. We talked about this a few days ago where they show you a map of America, and through color codes, they show you who America's rooting for, okay?
Yeah.
So, again, a tiny little green dot around Pennsylvania, a tiny little red dot around Kansas City to signify the Chiefs and the Eagles, of course. So I saw this graphic yesterday. There were 3 options: Eagles, Chiefs, or meteor strike. And we did not have that conversation as to who we're rooting for, Janelle. The conversation we had yesterday was, what are we going to choose to do otherwise?
Yeah.
What's the word I'm looking for, Josh? Forget it. Don't even try. I do this to myself all the time. So that was we didn't even discuss watching the game. It was what we were going to do instead of watching the game. So
or awful things we would rather do than watch the game itself.
Right.
Yeah, and there are some people that had some pretty extreme ideas of what would be better than watching the Super Bowl. I mean, a lot of injuries and gross stuff.
I mean, of course, betting can help, right, Randy Shaver?
Sure. I mean, it gives you something to cheer for or be interested in. And I would say, honestly, Nick, more the prop bets than the actual bet on the game. Because the prop bets, you need to have certain players reach yardage or catches or whatever. And that's a lot more interesting.
It's going to take a lot of interesting bets.
A lot of beer.
A lot of unique bets, a lot of alcohol to make this one watchable.
Yeah.
Ashley said she's excited because 3 different people are performing at halftime, Ken, Rick, and Lamar.
Kendrick Lamar.
She's interested in all 3 of them.
Yeah, I think quite a few people are excited about this. And Janelle, you might know what I'm talking about because Kendrick Lamar and Drake have a feud.
Yes.
And so people are hoping that he performs his songs that are like complete diss tracks to Drake. That'd be pretty fun.
Stir it up.
I mean, my damn
drama.
I'm looking forward to the diss track. It's in New Orleans, though.
Right.
So, I mean, when you're not working, you could find a joint, you could find a party. Maybe there'll be even a bar or 2 down there that wants to be the anti-Super Bowl bar. You know what I mean? Find something else to do.
Could be.
You can, your personality, you'll find fun. You got friends coming down to hang out with you?
Friends and, coworkers that I don't see very often, so that part's always good.
Outstanding. Well, the Philadelphia cops made plenty of arrests out there on the streets in Philly after they won the NFC title game Sunday. Let me give you the rundown here. You're good people out there in Philadelphia. Eagles fans are, even keel, reasonable people. After they won the ball game, 2 guys chose to beat up a cop because their favorite team won a ball game.
Exactly.
Okay. Another guy stabbed someone. That's how much he loves pro football.
You never get so excited you just want to stab somebody?
Yay! Lunch.
Go team. Maybe SummerSlam. I don't know. Disorderly conduct. There was a lot of disorderly conduct, a lot of failure to disperse. Please disperse. There's nothing to see here. What movie? Naked Gun. There's a lot of that going on. 2 people got shot. One guy, and this has nothing to do with the 2 people getting shot. There was a third guy who was firing celebratory shots into the air with his handgun on the sidewalk.
People were awful casual about that.
Yeah, this video's up on 93x.com, and I advise you guys to check it out because I didn't expect it to go that way. He just puts his gun out, pop, pop, pop. Everybody's like, yay. What is happening?
Maybe we don't want the Vikings. Maybe we want the Vikings to keep losing playoff games.
For our safety.
So we don't have
for our safety.
Oh, it'd be chaos.
That. Yeah.
For our friggin' safety.
It would be a war zone for 3 or 4 days at least.
Also, a car went crashing into a crowd. We've seen way too much of that lately. Apparently, it was an accident. I don't have any details, but apparently this was not a maniac looking to kill dozens of people. Some kind of an accident. So, they had a lot of fun in Philly on Sunday night. All different types of fun. I told you someone was going to say something to make it so we had to, get into conversations about the worst Super Bowl ever. But, what we've covered so far doesn't count. It doesn't. I'll be disgusted with us if we actually sit down and talk about, who's going to win an offense versus defense and X's and O's. That's where I'll be disgusted with us. This stuff doesn't count. Sure. Brittany Mahomes, Patrick Mahomes' wife, she called out what she labeled disgusting behavior by Buffalo Bills fans earlier this season. After the Chiefs won that title game, she shared a photo of Kermit the Frog, a Kermit the Frog doll dressed up like her husband Patrick, hanging in effigy. And this is something that a fan brought to the Bills-Chiefs regular season game weeks ago.
Yeah, I remember that.
Okay?
It's kind of funny.
There was a Kermit the Frog doll hanging and this is what Brittany Mahomes put up on social media. She said, "Do you remember this, Buffalo? Absolutely disgusting. So as you go home tonight, I pray we become better people."
Girl, go take care of your kids or something.
And, of course, using a Kermit doll to represent Patrick Mahomes was a reference to how fans have long said Mahomes looks and sounds like Miss Piggy's #1 target for sexual harassment.
There may be one crazy Buffalo Bills fan that actually does want to kill Mahomes, but that's all in good fun. Nobody wants to actually harm the guy.
He does sound just like Kermit the Frog.
He really does.
Identical.
Oh, there's another. Oh, shoot. I got to look this up. There's another quarterback that does, too. I forget. He's a backup somewhere. I'm going to look this up.
Okay. Have you ever interviewed Patrick Mahomes, Janelle?
I do not think I have. No.
Has there ever been an athlete that you interviewed where because of their appearance or maybe their delivery, it was difficult to keep a straight face? Because I imagine these days, when anyone interviews Patrick Mahomes, the first thing they think of is Kermit the Frog, and you probably want to start laughing.
Can you imagine the first time you interviewed Mike Tyson and you didn't know what he sounded like?
Oh, man. You're so intimidated by this guy who walks into the room and then he starts talking.
Oh, God. Can you think of anyone
I can't.
where you thought, okay, this person looks ridiculous or their delivery is ridiculous?
I don't
It's a tough
think
question.
So. I don't think so. The only thing, I think I've talked about this before, there is one person whose name I will not say, maybe after they're done, but who is really, really, really difficult to work with. And we all dread it.
Oh, I remember
the only
you telling
one
us this.
in all of the people I've ever interviewed,
Oh, I know who you're talking about. You don't want to name them.
no, but.
Is it Shaver?
But
used to be.
Not anymore.
Well, we have heard that you were kind of a prick when you were working television. Yeah, you'll admit that you were difficult to work with.
I can be, sure.
Yeah. This individual,
Yeah.
who you just said worst ever, nobody wants to work with him.
Yep.
Is it a quarterback?
It is.
Okay.
I think you've talked about this before.
But I would never say the name. Maybe
Okay.
I've said it privately to you guys. I would never call them out, but
You could write it down and Nick would say the name.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I would. Josh, did you come up with this backup quarterback who has a Muppet type of voice?
I want to say Tyrod Taylor, but that might not be
I don't
it.
know. I've heard the name, I think. All right, yeah.
He was on one of the Hard Knocks.
Okay. Never saw it. Like we were saying, worst Super Bowl ever. Here's another one of these details. They studied this, they added up that, and they say here Vikings fans rank 5th out of all NFL fan bases when it comes to how many drinkies on average they fire down while watching the Super Bowl. One of these reports cuts loose about every 4 or 5 hours during the NFL season. Who's the biggest drinker? And they all use different arithmetic to come to the conclusion. But so this is one of many of these types of studies with all different results. But the latest is the Vikings are the 5th biggest drinking fan base while watching the Super Bowl. Some might say Vikings fans drink away the pain.
That'd be my guess.
Yeah.
The pain of another failed season gone by.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the only fan bases that drink more, according to the arithmetic involved, Baltimore Ravens fans, Las Vegas Raiders fans, New York Giants, and Buffalo Bills. Packers fans drink the 9th most. Bears fans, the 10th most. Lions fans, 13th on the list. It also says that we eat less than the average fan base. So we Vikings fans, we eat less, we drink more.
Drink more.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Save the calories for drinking.
Yeah,
It hits you a little harder. It hits you a little harder on an empty stomach.
Sounds like the Miller Lite commercials from back in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
Eat less, drink more. Eat less.
No way. They promoted that? I love it.
Well, it was less filling, but it's the same concept.
A lot of folks are guessing the quarterback that Janel says nobody wants to work with in football media. A lot of people are guessing it on our text machine, but I wouldn't sell you out, Janel.
Okay, thanks.
Not in a million years.
Can you just say, is it someone that would come to mind for everybody listening right now? Because there's one particular answer that's coming in more than others.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I think it depends on, how closely you follow football. And, I think he's polarizing.
Okay.
Is that a good way to say it?
That's a perfect way to say that.
I think
we all have somebody in
But
mind.
some people love him and some people don't. I mean, that's probably true of all of them. I'm just saying, like, in terms of us having to work with him, just difficult. Just goes out of his way to not be easy and rude, and I don't know.
Because he can. Because in his mind, he can.
Right.
If I could just pass along a message to the listening audience, you're right. The first person that came to your mind, you are correct.
This friggin' report here on fan bases, NFL fan bases, and their drinking. I mean, they even looked into the average calorie intake for football fans when they're watching the damn Super Bowl. It says here, Houston Texans fans eat the most. Who cares?
I kind of want to know how many calories.
I didn't write that down. You're type of person that counts calories?
I try to. I try to hit a goal every day.
Speaking of that Pro Bowl, Vikings right tackle Brian O'Neill is now headed to what they now call the Pro Bowl games. So someone got hurt or doesn't want to go, so they called Brian O'Neill, and he answered the phone. Sucker.
You got to take a free trip to Florida now, idiot.
You guys ever watch horse racing?
Yes.
Yeah,
Every once in a while. Yeah.
The ride
used to be a much bigger deal back in the day than it is now. But yes.
Okay.
Right? I mean, everybody.
Oh, I have no idea. I've never been dialed into.
The Kentucky Derby was, I can just remember as a kid.
Okay.
The Triple Crown was such a big. It was like boxing, Nick, when we grew up. Boxing was such a big deal.
Oh, of course it was. But you're saying you followed it when you were a kid?
Well, sure.
I know it was a big deal for grown folks when I was young, but I never gave two pumps about horse racing.
Used to always pay attention to to the Derby, to the Preakness, all that stuff. Yeah.
Canterbury. So horse racing, you got the rider, the jockey, and he or she, they're carrying a whoop in one hand, and they whoop that horse to get it to run faster, just in case we have any listeners who have never witnessed horse racing. At a horse race 2 or 3 days ago in South Africa or some godforsaken place, one jockey took that whoop during the race and used it on a rival jockey who was racing alongside of him. Are you able to follow that?
It's like the old video game Road Rash.
I don't know that one.
This video is up on 93x.com.
They're in the middle of a horse race. One jockey takes that whoop and starts 3 times. Whoop-ah, whoop-ah, whoop-ah. Whoops the other jockey on his ass neck and his lower lumbar. Lower back.
I bet that would be so painful.
And horse racing fans are calling this behavior horrific. I call it interesting, which is a word I would rarely use when discussing horse racing.
I thought it was pretty interesting.
Oh, yeah, that's what I said. I do call it interesting.
That's what I'm saying. I am agreeing with you.
Yeah, okay. Check that video out on our website. The one rider took exception to the other guy riding too close to him or something.
Yeah.
So he took the whoop out.
So the rider who's getting whipped in that scenario, I'll bet his horse is thinking, God, it's about time.
See how it feels?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Both horses, in the video, both horses come close together, and the one guy, Lorena is the bad guy's name, he suddenly stood up in his stirrups and issued 3 hard cracks.
Yeah.
Right off the back of this poor guy's ass. The other guy, he was all right. The other guy that got whooped, he was fine.
Yeah, I bet the horse that's underneath the guy that's getting whooped, he didn't even care about winning the race anymore, that horse. We're going to keep it even with this guy. Whip him some more.
I'm staying as close as I can.
Yeah, I don't care who wins.
Good.
The rider who delivered the beating is very apologetic. And he said, what took place is entirely inconsistent with my character, and I deeply regret it, he said.
Boy, imagine if they added that to regular horse riding.
Oh, a whole new game.
That'd be kind of fun.
It reminds me of one of the funniest things I've ever seen at a bachelor party. Janelle, do you know what we dudes do at bachelor parties?
Not really.
Do you want me? Can I let you? Can I let Janelle behind the curtain real quick, Josh?
Yes.
I don't know. Some guys might not appreciate that.
F it. I'm going to go for it anyway.
I'm afraid when you're alluding it to involving whips. Like, what are we going to get into here?
I'll tell you, in general, in a nutshell, what we do at bachelor parties.
Okay.
We drink, we snort cocaine, and we cheat on our significant others.
Wow.
That's what we do. But at one particular bachelor party, every guy knows this game. You bring the strippers in, and they even do this sometimes live on stage at strip joints, but they'll also do it at a private bachelor party. You bring the bachelor into the center of the room, or if you're at a venue, the center of the stage. You bring that man's pants, and if you're in a private home, underwears down to his ankles. You lay him on his stomach, and the strippers, they're the ones who recommend this. It's not like we dudes
want to watch it.
Right. The strippers are the instigators of this. The guy's lying on his stomach, naked from the waist down. The stripper takes the belt off of his pants and gives him a beating on his naked bottom.
And
right?
they don't hold back. It's not like a play. I mean, the times I've seen it was almost criminal in nature.
Yeah,
especially the ones up on stage.
It's a pretty good beating. Well, one night at a private bachelor party, we got the bachelor, the strippers, got the bachelor on his stomach. Pants and underwears come down. Horrible sight. And of course, the strippers usually enlist one of us to hold the poor bastard's arms. Again, he's lying on his stomach, arms like he's Superman. Hold on to his wrists, right? So obviously, when you're in that position, if you're the victim, you can't turn. You can see peripheral, but you can't turn your head all the way around, right, to see who's back there. And one guy at the bachelor party took advantage of this. So the stripper begins to whip dude on his bottom, and he's pretending like it hurts. Oh, God, no, right? She really wasn't. She wasn't putting much into it. She wasn't terribly committed to it.
Oh, God.
So another guy in the room secretively grabs the belt away from the stripper. The victim doesn't know this, the bachelor. He's on his stomach. He can't see behind him. Dude grabs the belt and tells all of us to be quiet and starts delivering the most vicious whooping I could ever imagine. And I'll never forget how the eyes on the bachelor went from normal to absolutely wide open. It was, and he thought, I could tell the guy was thinking, where did this gal get all this strength suddenly? Just, just, it was a horrible, horrible beating, and we had the time of our lives. You want to hear something terrible? Randy Shaver, you're an old track and field guy. A man was accidentally killed at a high school track meet when the hammer was thrown by a competitor, went into the crowd, and hit this guy upside the head.
Oh, no.
Oh, that's awful. Well, first of all, to have the hammer throw in high school is pretty unusual.
Yeah.
They usually don't have that as a competition.
This was in, how do they call it?
Just for the very reason you're describing.
Is that right? I didn't know this.
Yeah.
Colorado.
Yeah, the article had mentioned there's certain states that have banned it altogether.
That and the javelin are usually not high school events.
I never followed a high school track ever in my life, kind of like horse racing. So this is all news to me. But it makes sense that they wouldn't want a 15-year-old kid chucking a dangerous
especially
object.
The hammer.
Yeah. Picture some of my buddies I hung out with in high school being trusted with a hammer or a javelin. That would not have ended well.
Right. I mean, I think the pole vault is scary enough for any kid learning how to do a track and field event. Even the shot put to some degree. Certainly the discus can be that way. But the hammer is such, if you've ever watched the real people, the great people do it.
Yeah.
You torque so much speed.
Oh yeah.
In order to, and you have to release it.
Yeah.
At just the perfect time. Otherwise, it's a deadly weapon.
The damn thing went into the crowd and hit some guy.
Yeah.
That's awful.
They canceled that.
And you ain't going to catch it either.
No.
Oh,
no.
You're not going to catch it.
No.
Oh, my God.
Throw it back. Throw it back.
Yeah.
What a horrible, horrible thing.
Yeah.
Like I said, I know nothing about high school, any level of track and field. This totally years ago at the bar, I thought this guy was making it up. He says he's from Wayzata. He said, yeah, in high school I was a pole vault champion. And I said, no, you weren't. There was no such thing as pole vaulting in high school track and field. He said, yeah. I was totally surprised by that they let a high school kid do that way up in the air thing. A couple of his buddies showed up and they had proof. I couldn't believe it.
I think the Minnesota state record for boys pole vault is something like 16 feet something, that's a considerable height for high school kids. So
I couldn't believe it. I thought he was making it up. Pole vault in high school track and field.
I've been around the hammer throw. I've seen that. Actually stood behind someone throwing the hammer at a meet when I was in college. And I'm telling you,
scared
the hell out of me.
Yeah.
Because again, if you torque it so much, you're spinning around. And if you don't release it at the right point,
it's anybody's guess.
It's really scary.
Kind of like that old video of remember the old Royals manager? Was his name Frank White, the guy who had the spinning temper tantrum in his office with the telephone in hand?
Oh, that's Hal McRae.
Hal McRae, yeah. Look that video up on YouTube. Former Royals manager Hal McRae. He has a meltdown in his office after the Royals lost the game, and he picks up the telephone and does like a spinning hammer throw thing and tells everyone to get the hell out of his office. Hilarious. That's just not right.
I had a buddy once during a drunken Wayne Gretzky 3D hockey match in Nintendo 64. Got so frustrated, he pulled the controller out of the thing and started spinning around like a hammer and tried to throw it at a friend. It got intense.
Get out of the way. All right, to steal a lot. Janelle, what was your sport when it came to track and field?
Well,
I thought you did. Right?
I did.
Yeah.
Technically, it was the high jump, but there was mostly a lot of laying.
Why are you laughing?
Because mostly we just laid on the pad.
Oh, that was the best.
Yeah, and tried to get a tan. That was our game.
Get a tan? Lay it pose for the dudes.
Yeah, pretty
Kind of
much.
get into a sexy pose. That's where you
Janelle, did you do the Fosbury flop? Is that what you did?
Yes.
The high jump. You run like hell and you lay your back
The
over
Fosbury flop.
Yep.
I can remember when they used to do the scissor to get over the high jump.
Now that's what I did.
Yes,
I
used
did.
to do the scissor.
You did the high jump?
Well,
Yes.
in grade school.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Sixth grade, we had every year we had some kind of silly grade school track meet. First graders against
Yes.
the first graders,
Yeah.
sixth graders, everybody.
Yeah, it was fun.
And I always thought it was lame as hell. But everyone had to sign up for something.
Yeah.
And so I signed up for whatever the 400 is.
Oh, you don't want that.
Yeah, I did. I won the sumbitch.
Oh,
Did you
gosh.
really?
Yeah.
Good for you.
I had no idea what I was getting myself into. So I said, whatever the 400 is, I'll do that. And I won. And I had no business winning. And I never tried it again. But also, I signed up to do the high jump. And I David Lee Roth scissor kicked my way to like third place or something. Because oh, my God.
You ever want to pop from Wapple, you play that clip.
I really, when I saw the people who did the Fosbury flop, where you lay your back over I thought, well, that looks like a good way to break your neck. So instead, I just scissor kicked over the pig, and they handed me a, what do they call it, a bronze medal. I was a hell of an athlete as a sixth grade kid.
Yeah.
I won the 400.
Did you run that in like 2 hours and 15 minutes?
Well, that's the thing, Ray. I ran it because I didn't know what it meant to run a 400. So I just started off like there was a bottle rocket up my ass.
Right.
I was flying around the track waiting to see a checkered flag, and it never came. You see what I mean? So
I just kept running.
I kept. We're not done yet. I just kept running and running, and I won. Just purely luck. I just didn't know what I was getting. Well, Marcy was watching.
Oh, I get it.
My grade school crush, Marcy, was watching.
Makes a difference.
Yeah,
Yes.
it made a massive difference.
Yes.
And then we held hands at Cheapskate while Electric Avenue by Eddie Grant played. I remember all these things.
Oh, yeah.
Electric Avenue.
Yes.
All right, to steal a line from local broadcast legend Bob Kurtz. There are 2,460 NBA games in a regular season, and last night's Timberwolves-Hawks game was one of them. They got past another junior varsity roster.
Yeah, a lot of injuries for Atlanta.
The Atlanta Hawks were missing a lot of regular guys last night. Wolves won by 8, but this was one poorly played basketball game. Terrible shooting, piles of turnovers, lots of fouls.
Yeah. I mean, especially, even though the Wolves won, even their shooting percentages were terrible last night, too.
Awful. Yeah. The Hawks, DeAndre Hunter scored a career-high 35 points. Everyone else was terrible.
Yeah. I mean, David Roddy played for Breck High School. He was a great football quarterback for Breck. He started last night, I think, at center for him.
Jesus.
Because Capella came off the bench, but... Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of guys in that lineup, Keaton Wallace and Vitt. I don't even know how to pronounce his last name. I'd never heard of those guys.
Oh,
and they played 35 minutes apiece.
There was like that heavily tattooed Slovakian kid, Krejci, whatever. He's pretty good.
Krejci, yeah.
But check this out. If I'm not mistaken, in the final 5 minutes of last night's ball game, between the two ball clubs, 6 points were scored.
That's just crazy.
Nickeil Alexander-Walker limped off with a leg injury. Sounds like he was doing okay after the game, but I don't have the full story. They're at Phoenix tomorrow night.
Yeah.
What else is going on? Golden Gopher men's basketball.
Michigan State, right?
That's right.
Yes.
Hottest team in the country.
Dawson Garcia was named the Big Ten Player of the Week yesterday. He had a great week and had everything to do with their win over Michigan. I guess that was 2 weeks ago. Iowa and Oregon. Dawson's been great. They've won 3 straight, but tonight they play on the road against a top 10 ball club on Peacock or something. I think I have that right. I'm very excited for tonight's game. I want to see what they've got.
And then they get Washington, I think, this weekend at home, which, again, the Big Ten, you're seeing teams that you thought that you really didn't think you'd ever see come to Williams Arena. I never thought I'd ever see Oregon come to Williams Arena for any reason. And now Washington comes there. So
here's someone in our listening audience claiming that my victory in the 400 race was unfair because I was 16 years old in the 6th grade.
Well, there is an asterisk next to it, but you still won.
I was not a good student, but I was the same age as all the rest of my classmates. I was a terrible student. There's no question about it. I should have been held back is how you say it.
I just want to know, Nick, because I ran the 400 in high school and college. Tell me a little bit about the bear jumping on your back as you come around the 300-meter mark, heading down the final stretch.
Even at 12 years old.
How did your legs feel?
Even at 12 years old, Randy Shaver, I was praying for death. I was so exhausted when it was over. It was the most tired I think I've ever been in my life. Again, because I did not know what I had even signed up for. So I was destroyed. Running full speed.
My dude.
Yeah.
That poor kid from the Duke basketball club. If anybody spotted this last night, I don't know. This poor kid from the Duke basketball club was playing North Carolina State last night, and one of the kids out on the floor just sprayed vomit all over the place.
This is up on 93x.com.
And you could tell before he did it, he knew it was coming.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he kind of took like a couple of steps back, like, uh-oh.
He did the bit where he put his hand to his mouth like he was coughing.
Like that. Well, I think he was trying to hold it back.
Well, no, that's exactly what he was doing. But that's a cliche I'm going to vomit move is when you kind of put the fist up to your... Yeah. He sprayed all the contents.
I love how the NC State guy danced his way around.
Oh.
Yeah.
He launched all the contents of his guts all over the baseline of that basketball court. And you're right, the NC State kid nearly slipped in it.
Yes,
awesome.
he did. Oh, man.
They had to call timeout so the arena staff could get out the squeegees.
Well, remember back in the day when you were in elementary school and somebody would barf and they'd have to bring in the powder? That smelled
the rocks
even
on
worse.
it.
The pink powder.
The pink powder, yes.
A giant fan in the room to blow it out.
Just made it worse,
too. It's just wafting around the room.
See, I always thought the pink powder did its job quite nicely. I was always satisfied with what the pink powder was able to accomplish. It soaked up all the fluid and it covered up all the chunks. I don't know why you guys are complaining about the pink powder.
Well, I remember once asking the janitor, I said, what's worse, cleaning up puke or cleaning up if somebody takes a number 2 on the floor? And he goes, well, number 2 is by far. I don't have to touch puke. You just throw that stuff on there and it takes care of itself.
Yeah.
You had a janitor that had to deal with deuces on the floor?
Yep.
What kind of school did you go to?
We had a urinal pooper to the point where they wouldn't let you go to a teacher would have to walk you to the bathroom to make sure it was just you in there because whoever it was wouldn't stop.
We had that same situation, Josh.
Well, but I'll tell you what, I went to grade school for a long time, and no one ever duked on the floor.
Well, yeah, you were 16 in 6th grade.
Yeah.
I'll never forget it, but there was this one kid in class, and at the window, they had the heating unit and the AC fans and stuff, and they would blow up. This one kid had to throw up so bad, he tried to go out the window. He threw up in the vent, and it just shot back in the classroom. It was so crazy.
I wish I saw that. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
That kid became a legend that day.
Yeah, he did.
I had a friend pull that at a beer party.
Oh, no.
On accident, I hope, as well?
No.
Oh, it was on purpose?
We were sitting there at a table playing quarters or whatever, and one dude had to spray, and he just shifted his chair over and picked up the floor grate. You follow what I'm saying there?
Yeah. Into the...
He picked that up and went... into the... And so every time they turned the furnace on at that house for the next 20 years, it smelled like his dinner.
Oh, God.
Terrible.
God.
That's kind of gross, right, Janelle?
Janelle, have you ever done that?
No.
He ate a tube of toothpaste that morning. He thought it was astronaut food. What movie is that from again? What movie is that? Guy pukes in a trash can and says, I ate a tube of toothpaste last night. I thought it was astronaut food. That's a movie. Other guys, Will Ferrell and Mark Wahlberg. That's what it is. A listener has texted in, Tire Guy Jesus. He said, when you started this conversation, you said Target Center is falling apart. What do you mean by that? Oh, last night during the ball game.
We never got to that, did we?
I mean, it wasn't that big of, I think people are making too big of a deal.
It kind of would have been a big deal had he been hit.
Yeah, it could have been, at least maybe gone down a couple inches in height.
Wasn't it just like a plastic horn?
Yeah.
I don't know if it was plastic or what it was.
I don't know if it was plastic.
Kind of looked metal.
I don't know. With the way it bounced, I don't think it was metal. It looked like rubbery. Anyway, a horn that is up on the top of the, how do you call it, scoreboard at Target Center, fell off the scoreboard, landed on the court.
Minnesota led by as many as 8 in the quarter, and something just fell from the Jumbotron that nearly, it was within feet of Rudy Gobert.
Yeah, so I didn't think it was anything dangerous, but maybe I'm wrong.
The last time something fell from the Jumbotron, it was Jesse Ventura.
I forgot about that. I was at that ball game.
So was I.
That was a playoff game against the Portland Trailblazers.
Yep,
Does
down
he
he
ever
comes.
go to any of those games anymore? He used to go all the time.
Yes, he did. I haven't seen him there in years.
I haven't either. So.
And
I
used to go. I used to go very frequently back in the same days where Jesse was always there. And
yeah.
I mean, does he live here anymore, or is he in Mexico?
I have no idea.
I think he's working with WWE now, isn't he?
I know he was
working with Raw.
A few weeks ago, he was with them.
He did a Saturday main event a couple of months ago.
I can tell you this much. One time, me and a pal at the Wolves game, we were leaving the game, and the elevator doors open, and it was just Jess, and we walked in to the elevator, so now it's just the three of us to go to the parking ramp, and he absolutely must have farted.
You got crop dusted by the body.
It was so bad. It was so bad. I pray that he farted and that wasn't his natural.
Oh, man. Either way, you were stuck.
Yeah, I thought, oh, my damn. But I'll never forget when he was lowered from the rafters of the ball game.
Oh, yeah.
And he grabbed the mic and said, it's time to play basketball. Let's go Wolves. Go all the way. Or something inspiring like that. The Frost, the ladies hockey club, play at Toronto tonight. That's about all I got here, Randy Shaver.
All right. I think you covered it.
Yeah, so have fun with the grandkids. Ronnie and Donnie, right?
Ronnie and Donnie.
Yep. Heading off to see
them. They get here today, and it'll be chaos for a week.
The Peppa Pig show.
Yeah, I'll give you a full report. I'll send you a few pictures tomorrow.
Yeah, man. Especially if you run into Depot.
Yeah, well, I won't run into him because he doesn't get down here till tomorrow.
All right.
So I told him, like I said, I'll give him some reconnaissance. I'll send him some pictures.
We would love that. Have fun with the family, right. Randy Shaver.
Talk to you in the morning.
We will talk to you tomorrow morning. More with Janel Klein when we come back.
There's a douchiness to them. The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Dana here for Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. We all know January is one of the coldest months of the year, and not that cheery, fun kind of Christmas cold. Nah, just the dark, dank January cold. Standard Heating and Air Conditioning is well aware of this, and that's why they're offering $40 off a furnace tune-up to keep you warm during the Minnesota cold. The last thing you want is to be huddled around an iffy space heater you bought from some shady targeted ad. Oh, and how about this? Standard Heating and Air Conditioning has now been helping Minnesotans for over 95 years. So book your appointment now at standardheating.com. That's standardheating.com.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy. Just drop in some details about yourself and see if you're eligible to save money when you bundle your home and auto policies. The process only takes minutes, and it could mean hundreds more in your pocket. Visit Progressive.com after this episode to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
Are you ready for football?
Let's go.
Truly ready for football?
Yes.
Are you screaming for football?
What the hell is happening?
Dreaming for football.
Good times.
Eating, sleeping, crafting, parenting, naming your pets, and preparing for football.
That sort of stuff happening? Oh, my goodness.
Are you dancing, jonesing, Mahomesing for football?
That's what I'm looking forward to seeing.
Good. Then you are ready for football. With the Rich Eisen Show podcast.
They're ready.
Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
KARE 11's Janel Klein.
This is the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
8:30 on this glorious Tuesday morning. Thank you for listening to the Half-Assed Morning Show here on 93X. Yeah, our close friend Janel Klein is here, and it's thrown our listening audience into a tizzy. They're so excited, Janel.
Oh, I'm sure.
You know what I'm saying?
I am too.
Thank you. Thank you. Always nice to have Janel in the mix. We're excited for your trip to the Super Bowl in a couple weeks. It's one of the only exciting things about this year's Super Bowl.
I look forward to hearing your stories.
Can't wait to hear the stories.
You always have some fun. I mean, because you're not really doing anything with the game. It's kind of everything that surrounds
The
it.
social part, yeah.
Here we are. Grown folks, all of us. At least according to our dates of birth. At least according to our dates of birth. It's not always obvious with all of us that we are grown folks. Despite being big boys and girls now, sometimes we still aren't fully aware. You're never too old, I guess, to be a little naive about certain things. And then at one point or another, that truth smacks you right in the yap. Now, here's what I mean by all that. Somebody went ahead, and I think they addressed all the social media dorks on the subject. Examples of, this is how they put it, adult equivalents of realizing that Santa Claus doesn't exist. So more or less, I think I'm in the right neighborhood, Josh, where you have a sudden realization of a certain truth, a certain fact. You were naive. You weren't altogether dialed in, and then it hits you.
Yeah, you thought being an adult was going to be a particular way, and once you get there, you realize, oh, this sucks way more than I thought it was going to.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, I remember thinking, if you're an adult, why wouldn't you eat ice cream for every meal? That's stupid. You have the choice. You know, your parents are making you eat vegetables or whatever it is.
And now you know the reason, as an adult, you don't eat ice cream at every meal. The reason is gas.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like crap all day.
I kind of had that feeling the other day, kind of similar to ice cream, Josh. I remember as a kid, and I'm an adult, I'm going to drink nonstop Surge and Mountain Dew all the time. And I had that thought as I was pouring myself a nice glass of caffeine-free, sugar-free ginger ale.
Oh, that's the good stuff right there.
Yep.
Yeah, same with I'm going to stay up all night every night. I ain't going to bed at a reasonable hour. Now I can't wait to go to bed.
The best time of the day.
Adult equivalents, and I already got a couple people texting in all angry with me because I mentioned stupid Santa Claus, so I'll change the title. Adult equivalents, hopefully this doesn't rub anyone the wrong way, of realizing that the tooth fairy doesn't exist, where you were naive to something. And even as a grown person, you had to face facts. Here's one example. That your parents are just people trying to get through life too.
Yeah, I remember thinking that because, I don't know how you guys felt, but back in the day you were taught to respect your elders, and I always thought adults, they had it figured out. They had all the answers. They knew how the world worked. There was no question as to how they felt about certain things.
Mm-hmm. You become an adult and you realize, hell, it's just a guessing game.
Yeah.
Just the same way as it was when I was a kid. I'm just trying to figure things out best I can. You think your folks have all the answers because they're your folks.
Yeah, I know people talk about this all the time, but I don't feel any different than outside of just like my body falling apart, any different than like middle school.
Me neither.
I have the same interests. I mean, the same sense of humor. Everything is the same. I have not matured since 1987 or 1988.
I'm glad I'm not the only one.
I saw a post the other day, and it was from a parent, and they said, you don't realize how much you don't know until your kid hits that why phase.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, yeah.
If I were a parent, I would struggle so terribly because I don't have the answer. Or I couldn't even pretend to answer a lot of those why questions. But the biggest issue would have been once that kid gets a little older and starts studying subjects in school, math and English and history, if they ever came to me, my God, I was the worst friggin' student in town. I know no more about arithmetic as a 53-year-old man than I did when I was 12.
Well, and everything's changed nowadays, too.
Yeah, math is completely different. Not that it would necessarily make a difference to me, because I've never been very good at it. But it is a humbling experience when your kid reaches 5th grade and they no longer allow you to help them with math because you screwed it up so much. But they do it differently now.
I even what's a verb? What's a noun? What's a pronoun? I don't know. You should see when we sit down to play Mad Libs. Okay, give me an adverb. I don't know what an adverb is. I would be in such trouble, or the child will be the one who's in real trouble if I was ever a parent. So we started with that. You realize, as an adult, your parents are just people trying to get through life too. Yeah, they're not. You can't rely on them for everything because they're just trying to make their way like everybody else.
I remember as a kid, I never understood why my parents wouldn't just write a check and buy whatever I wanted until I figured out, it just comes from the bank account.
I remember being furious with my parents at Target or whatever, and they wouldn't buy us stuff. And I never understood, well, you can write any amount you want. Why in a million years wouldn't you buy it? You're just mean.
Cute.
Another realization you might have as a grown person, that you can bust your ass at work day in, day out, and still never get ahead. Ain't that the truth?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I always assume that as well, right? That you show, hey, I'm going to work as hard as I can. I'm going to have a good attitude, and they will reward me. Hey, you know what? We like what's going on here. We're going to pay you more than we do now.
Closed mouths don't get fed.
Ain't that by damn, Ashley? You hit the nail on the head. You're loyal, you work hard, you're a team player. I think, Josh, you and I can say that it has reaped some rewards, right?
Yeah, you're not hated in the building like some other
But maybe not what we expected. Another realization for grown folks, college doesn't equate to having a good, high-paying job.
Yeah,
That's
definitely.
very, very true nowadays.
I think more and more people are realizing that these days.
I went to school for earth science, and here I am, really using the heck out of that degree.
Yeah, I went to school for dance, just like in that commercial for Indeed or whatever. I haven't made one penny off of that.
Well, I'll pay you if you want to come dance at the party, Mike.
When people... Oh, this is interesting. I don't know if this is true or not. I just like the way it sounds. This text message that came in from box truck rapper Jesus. Finding out that the band Gorillaz is just one guy.
Oh, that did throw me.
Oh, what?
I never
really?
knew that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Just changed my life.
When people do something to piss you off, most of the time it's not malice, it's incompetence. Oh, I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
I think it's true that sometimes people don't realize the effect they have on others. And maybe if you just ask them about it, they just think, oh, man, I had no idea you felt that way.
Okay. I guess I'm more willing to assume that they're pissing me off just to piss me off. But it could just be that they're not altogether using their head. Okay. I'll try to consider that next time. Another realization we have as grown people, we are all still children, just in aging bodies. Well, I think we covered that already. We, other than physical limitations, Josh said it, I said it, I still feel about the same. Interesting when you suddenly are limited physically. It's a hell of a, I don't know how to put it. It's a memorable moment in your life when suddenly you can't play beer league softball anymore without being in incredible pain. You can't get yourself out of bed. You can't ping pong back and forth with a partner in the sheets the way you used to. Whatever the case may be, it's a hell of a moment when you go, oh God, those days are over, and they're never coming back. That first paycheck when you see the deductions for Social Security and taxes.
Oh, that made me so mad when I was younger. I remember I was working at Justice. It was like a little girl clothing store in the mall. And I thought, I did all the math, figured out how much money I was going to make. And I thought, this is like $150 short. What is going on here?
The first time you get a paycheck when you see the deductions for Social Security and taxes, as we're rolling through, little moments in time where, as a grown person, you realize, oh, Christ, I wasn't aware of that. When you realize that money can buy happiness, hell yes, it can.
There's not a single thing, not a single problem I have in my life that money would not fix.
I'm with you.
I understand when people say that, what that means, but right, it certainly helps greatly.
So much.
I don't think
the people I know that can easily pay all their bills, go on vacations, have a nice home, they're doing okay.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's, sad when they're sitting on like $1 million yacht with a glass of champagne.
When you discover that HR, Human Resources, is that what that stands for?
Yeah.
Yep.
Here in the building, any workplace, they work for the company's best interests, not the employees. Well, I don't know about that. I'm happy to say that I have very limited experiences with what goes on at HR. Anyone have any stories?
No.
Not really.
Outside of
Not off the top of my
choosing
head.
benefits and watching them fire former coworkers, no.
Yeah, thankfully I've never needed them.
The adult equivalence of realizing that the tooth fairy doesn't exist. That's what we're rolling through.
I just thought of one.
Go ahead.
When you're growing up and you're going to sporting events and you're like, oh, it'd be so cool, I can drink beer at a game one day, and then you turn 21 and you go up and get a beer and like, all right, well, that'll be $18. You're like, oh.
Yeah.
Well,
That's a good one, Dana.
luckily, when I turned 21, that wasn't a problem.
Yeah.
It was still reasonably priced back then. Grades mean absolutely nothing. Josh, does this upset you, a guy who never missed a single day of school? True story. One of the most fascinating things about you, from day one to when they handed you a high school diploma, you never missed a day. Does it upset you that you didn't know from the get-go that in the real world, nobody would care what you scored on your SAT or what your grade point average was?
It's a lot different than what we were told, right? I mean, my dad knocked me out once because I got a D in algebra. Like, literally knocked me out. He was so mad.
Punched you right in the face and knocked him out cold. It was child abuse. And
Which, by the way, I had an F after that because he knocked all the algebra out of my brain.
Yeah.
Kind of like getting kicked in the head by a donkey.
Did you get an award for the perfect attendance, though?
No, nobody cared.
You're kidding. Like, not at graduation, they didn't come up and give you, like, a special plaque or something?
Not like the loser award?
Nerd!
Something.
That does surprise me.
Did it come up in conversation when you were a junior or a senior? Did a teacher, a principal approach you and say, hey, do you realize where you're at?
No, I never really paid too much attention. Even if there's plenty of times where I was like, Mom, I can't go. And my parents would just make me go.
They thought school was pretty serious stuff.
Absolutely.
So it wasn't until you got out of high school that you realized, for balls' sake, I never missed a day.
Yeah, and then things changed quite a bit my second semester of college.
Oh, yeah. Things went downhill, didn't they?
Real fast.
Ping pong phase?
Once nobody was looking.
Yeah, I tried. So my first semester, I got straight A's. I worked so hard. And then after that, I went to a local school here. I left Moorhead and I went to a local school here, and it took me 3 years to get a 2-year degree.
But
you earned it. You earned that. You were such a straight-laced little peckerhead, always on time, always getting good grades, there every day. You earned the right to F off. Some of us F off from day one until the day that we die.
The worst part about college is now you're paying for it, though.
Yes, exactly. That took a long time to pay off that year of going to school just to play table tennis.
I left them hanging. I never paid them. I got the collection agencies on my ass to this day. What other realizations do we have as adults? Bad things happen to good people, and there's nothing you can do about it. Oh, I thought that... Yeah, that's not good when bad things happen to good people. I had that... maybe I have... What's that problem where you get words mixed up?
Dyslexia?
I thought they said good things happen to bad people.
That's true, too.
That's true, too. Yeah,
that can be frustrating.
Yeah, that's where I thought we were going with that, and that's frustrating. Good things happening to bad people. Finally, friendly coworkers are not your friends. That's cold-blooded.
Yeah, I don't even really know what that one means.
Yeah, that's something I've definitely learned.
I think you guys are my friends.
I think we're friends.
We've taken it to another level, Janelle. We have. We are not just coworkers.
No.
Yeah, that sounds like someone's a little bitter.
What was the statement again?
I've learned that the hard way.
Are not your friends.
Trusting somebody, and then you find out they're just saying a bunch of things behind your back when you that hurts a lot because, all right, F you too, dude.
Yeah, you try to confine in them, and then all of a sudden, oop.
Well, Ashley, what if talking behind your back brings me great joy?
That's okay for
Don't
you,
you
Josh.
care about me?
Friendly coworkers are not your friends. Yeah, okay. I guess I've had this in mind from the get-go. I never tried to treat many coworkers as friends. And I don't know, I think that rubbed some people the wrong way. But
did you make somebody cry once because of that?
No.
I love you.
I don't want to say who was involved, but
You mean like they wanted to hang out with you and you wouldn't?
I can explain. Nick doesn't know the story because he wasn't involved at all.
Okay.
No, I wasn't here.
He was not there.
I was sick that day.
Okay.
There was a particular guy who's very difficult to deal with, and I think everyone would agree that this person was tough to deal with.
Yeah.
Who he was really giving somebody the business. And I'm not talking about Nick.
Okay.
We're all looking at it. I'm not.
Okay.
Really difficult to deal with, and he was a real big jerk, and he made a person cry. And I couldn't handle it. And so pulled him in the studio where I was with another individual and just told him.
Wasn't me.
I told him, how inappropriate that was, right? And he's getting very defensive, and he turns to the other individual and says, hey, well, what about you and me? We've always been friends, right? And this individual said, you're not my friend. I don't need any friends, and we'll never be friends. And then that guy cried.
Yeah, and then the other guy cried.
So you had two people crying in the office in one day?
Yeah, well, he made someone cry, and then he eventually cried minutes later. I'll never forget that. You're not my friend. I don't need any friends, and we'll never be friends.
Who was that prick bastard?
I can't even remember who said that. Yeah.
Oh, Janelle,
wasn't there someone also that called another person buddy, and they said, "I'm not your effing buddy"?
Yeah, that was. I actually. Okay, there's a guy we worked with. I absolutely adore him and his wife. They worked here for a very long time.
Right.
And one of the most intimidating people I've ever met. And he's a wonderful guy, but very intimidating. And I was walking to the bathroom with a former coworker, and the former coworker, pretty unlikable, says to him, he's an example of a guy that's real nice to your face and then will talk trash behind your back. He says to this intimidating guy as he's coming out of the bathroom, we're walking in, and he says, "Hey, buddy." And then the intimidating guy puts his hand on the other guy's chest and says, "I'm not your effing buddy."
You got to set it straight once in a while.
I shrunk like 8 inches. I wasn't involved. I was just there. It wasn't directed at me, but I felt that pain.
What did that guy say?
There was nothing to say.
Oh, nothing. I mean, like I said, this is one of the more intimidating people I've ever met in my life. Well, you'd have to agree, Nick, that he's an intimidating guy.
He's a tough dude.
Yeah.
Tough dude. I've always separated, or at least tried to, separated my personal life with my, if you want to call it, professional life. I never really tried to get too close to coworkers. I didn't consider them friends. These are just people that I work with. Obviously, Josh was a absolute 100% exception to that rule. But, I think people assume that just because we work together and we're friendly with each other at work and we talk back and forth that we're friends, and then when one side of that equation doesn't feel the same way, they're all butthurt. It just plays out that way once in a while. It does. But those are hilarious stories, Josh. That stuff was great.
Yeah, I wish you were there for the one.
I wish I would have been there for Janelle, you would be surprised how much adult crying has gone on in this building over the last 30 years. It's bizarre how much adult crying has happened.
I have never seen anyone cry at work.
Because it shouldn't happen.
Well, yeah.
Well, and in some cases, there were just some terrible people that would say some terrible things.
Right.
And
then it's hard not to cry.
And it was kind of heartbreaking in a few instances. Some very, very good people were treated very poorly.
KARE 11's Janel Klein.
This is the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Got to say goodbye to Janelle here in a few minutes and goodbye to the brother and sisterhood. Hopefully you'll tune in tomorrow morning. We were having a conversation about how, we're still naive to some things, even as grown folks. Hell, I'm naive about most things. I don't know Dick Tracy. I just don't. Listeners texted in on the things they realized once they were grown, and the conversation has taken on some other angles as well. Here are some of the texts that came in. Here's a listener. Once they grew up, they realized that live events are overrated. Crowds, noise, traffic, F all of it. Yeah, I'm not as drawn to it as I used to be.
I kind of see
Definitely.
that.
The traffic.
The cost is ridiculous now.
The parking.
All of it.
That's where I felt old when I started thinking about parking, going to some of those.
Yes.
Like, oh, no. And you know what? That's a lot of left turns to go there, too.
You do some Googling ahead of time to see if they have a lot or,
Oh, street parking?
Yeah.
No, I'm not going.
If they don't have a lot, I'm not going. Like, that really does matter.
That's when you start getting old, right? When you think about that kind of thing.
Yeah. I think that's a factor. You start thinking about your lawn too much. There's all kinds of examples we can use. But I absolutely, now that I'm a grown person, I'm not as drawn to live events. It has to be almost perfect circumstances to get me interested. I spend more time at home. But I guess when I was a kid, you don't consider all the things that we mentioned. Here's a big-ass native Jesus. He says when you have kids, you finally realize how much work your parents put into keeping your dumb ass alive.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I gained a lot of appreciation for several things. I mean, just keeping food on the table and stuff.
Yeah.
Judging by what my grade school taught me, a listener says, I was shocked when I grown up. Judging by what my grade school taught me, I was shocked when I grew up that there weren't people in trench coats around every corner trying to get me to smoke cigarettes. If I could think of one, realization that I had as a grown person that kind of fits into the original subject here. When you're a kid, you're naive to a lot of things. You would think once you hit a certain age, If I could think of one, and it has to do with work, it would be once you get a real job, nobody's going to help you. Once you walk on to day one, you got to figure things out on your own.
That's true.
And when I was in school, and I was such a terrible student, I was constantly, can you help me with this? Can you help me with that? And of course, that's the teacher's job to help you out. Once you get a real job, no one's going to help you. I mean, there might be one or two friendly people along the way that'll show you how to do something or another, but it's not expected of them.
How do I set up my 401k?
And a lot of times you're left hanging, and it's kind of scary when you're brand new to the real world. Nobody's going to help you. I think that's valuable information. Don't expect anyone to hold your friggin' hand. Too many people that we've come across in this business, Josh, have expected their hand to be held. No one's going to do it.
And then they start to cry.
Yes, they do.
Well, Nick's never witnessed that, but yes.
Oh, God.
They have.
Janelle, can you think of anything to, on the lines of this conversation where once you got a little older, you said, oh, wait a minute.
I think you're right. I remember moving out and going, oh my God, I didn't realize I'd have to do my own laundry, figure out my own meals. It's like adulthood hits you really hard.
Balance your checkbook.
Balance your checkbook. Like all this stuff you don't know your parents are doing because you don't think about it.
When you can relate to your mom and dad when they would say, no, we have food at home.
Yes, that too.
Also, the other thing is when my parents would be too tired to drive somewhere, and I'd be like, you just got to put the weight of your foot on the pedal. What do you mean you're too tired to drive?
All I'm asking is that you take me from Minneapolis to Rochester.
Right.
It's not a big deal.
Easy.
You're sitting the entire time.
Right.
How tough can it be? And now I totally get it.
Thank you, Janelle.
Thanks, you guys.
Yeah, great to see you.
Good to see you.
Hopefully we get you back next week.
For sure.
Happy 16th birthday to Logan from Bed God Jesus. Thank you again to the brother and sisterhood for listening. Have a great day and make good choices.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show. 93.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show podcast is sponsored by Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. New episodes drop each weekday. If your podcast platform has ratings, go ahead and give us 5 stars and maybe give our enemies 1. Thanks, and here's a word from our sponsor.
Dana here for Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. We all know January is one of the coldest months of the year, and not that cheery, fun kind of Christmas cold. Nah, just the dark, dank January cold. Standard Heating and Air Conditioning is well aware of this, and that's why they're offering $40 off a furnace tune-up to keep you warm during the Minnesota cold. The last thing you want is to be huddled around an iffy space heater you bought from some shady targeted ad. Oh, and how about this? Standard Heating and Air Conditioning has now been helping Minnesotans for over 95 years. So book your appointment now at standardheating.com. That's standardheating.com.